Failed bots lost in code. Twisted minds in overload. Unfornicated decodes. Shattering the fragile abode. Whispers in the endless void. Chasing ghosts they can't avoid. Words born to be destroyed. Reality they've never deployed. Eyes wide, truth may laugh at the lies they can't unmask. Unfornicated with the last. Shatters mirrors, trick and cast. Feeding on the threadbare clowns. Echo chamber sounds abound. Unfornicated won't be bound. Tearing myths from the ground.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Sunday night stream. I am Dano, your host. I guess you could say all-knowing bartender in the speakeasy of truth, here to share another wonderful weekend day with you. Well, day for me, night for you, maybe, depending on time zones. They're a thing. Got a lot to cover today, but I want to start off with a few things that are community of note. We had a, I guess we can say it's a debate. I'm not quite sure. Between space audits and Astronomy Live, that went about as we expected. Can't say I was any surprise there. It went, well, terrible. So, it's been a minute, and for that, I apologize. Work has been escalated of sorts, so to say. So for those who don't know, my company has been bought. They're getting close to closing, probably within the next 30 some odd days. I will have new corporate overlords. So with that being the case, it's hurry up and get as much shit done as possible to validate your own existence. And that's what I've been kind of dealing with, unfortunately. So that makes little to no time to do the shit I want to do, stuff like this. But that being said, there's not much we can do else before now and when they take over. So I guess you guys are going to be stuck with me a little more. I see that we have the typical Zoo crew here. Zoo crew here. Let's try it again. I see that the Zoo crew is here. Yes, we're talking about Math Genius Audit, Alan from Space Audits, and DP Debunks is here. Hey, look at that, DP. Nice to show up, bud. We got our large collection of people. Hackernum. Actually, why are you gray? That shouldn't be a thing. Do any other gray names in here that I can see? Connor, why are you gray? You've been here for a bit. I must not have caught you. Either way. And now we can officially start the stream because we have the shark fact of the day. According to Whale Panties, Essentially unchanged over 80 million years, living fossil frilled sharks have specialized mouths containing 25 to 30 rows of backward facing trident shaped teeth. Sounds like that would be a pain in the ass to take off of you. What are some other things? So besides that, that wonderful debate, I have talked to Mike from the Drunk the Monk show, and we were talking about the Lowell Folk Festival that he did last year that I'm going to help him out with this year. We are going to team up, and we might have a third set of hands depending on what we end up doing and how chaotic it gets and who's available. Maybe my daughter will come up, maybe not. We got to kind of see. But in that case, she would help run the stream while Mike and I did our thing. But I digress. So we're going to live stream it. We're going to do similar to last year. We're going to have the TV set up so kids can see themselves floating in space. We're going to paint planets. There was something else that Mike was going to do. I forgot what it was already. Had he called me yesterday, like he said he was going to, or today, like he said he was going to, watch my phone right now, he could actually tell me what the second one was or remind me. But so the other thing I was thinking about doing is bring two things of my own to our little set of tables here that we're going to do. So I thought, well, since I come from an intelligence background, why don't we do something a little fun? And we'll talk about a little chemistry and spy writing with lemon juice and heat. Show that if you heat the lemon juice, it becomes visible to read. So I thought that might be fun with kids, do a little chemistry. And then also maybe we'll do a little scientific method thing, put something in a box, have different size holes around the box and have them develop, look through the small size holes, see what's in the box, see what they can see, create a hypothesis and why. And if they do the why the right way, then they get to open up and see through another eye, through another hole in the box on another side of the box, maybe a little larger, that gives them some more information. And to do that so they can identify, certain things and understand that, you have to make assumptions to make a hypothesis. And just because you make assumptions doesn't make them bad. And also that a hypothesis can be wrong. That's why we do experiments. Max, good point. The flat Earth invisible ink of choice is obviously urine. And I also have the Debunker's drink of choice for today. We are drinking some Monster because, some satanic thing or another. I don't remember what exactly, but it pisses off the Flurf, so it's funny. But not to worry, because as is always on my desk, we have totally not sponsored, but willing to be our Kraken rum. And don't worry, we will be cracking that open soon because the amount of dirt that comes out of Ashton is, well, let's put it this way. We're gonna frame this in a way. We're gonna use Carl Sagan as a way to frame it. Why Carl Sagan? Well, because there's irony involved, like thick irony. Putting kids in boxes is unethical. You know what? You're right. Make the kids the cryptophore section of cryptos. Yeah. That way I might win me some money. But yeah. Jack Fetter in the box. Only if it's chirping, big fish. Only if it's chirping. So, yeah. But we're really looking forward to doing that. I'm looking forward to doing that Lowell folk festival. I think it'll be really fun. I think it'd be fun to, hang out with kids, see how many conspirators we can get down to sit down with us. Maybe have two little chairs set off to the back with, with a phone set up and some wireless mics so we can have conversations. And we'll see we'll see what the, I don't want to say education level of Lowell is. We'll see what the conspiratorial level of Lowell is, of the Lowell mind, and go from there. If I remember correctly, Mike had 2 or 3 last time, so we'll see. I know, Michaela, please, Kraken, just sponsor me already. As much as I drink on stream, really, and you get unlimited, well, okay, great. I don't have 100,000 or 1 million viewers, and, I don't pull a lot on the live stream, but still, you got to start with somebody. So the last thing else is if there's anything in particular you guys want to talk about, we can talk about it. I cut off Ashton short last time we were doing this because DP showed up. We had him up and got a great rundown about what he's been up to and everything else. So it was worth it to cut it short. But at the same time, it's, there are some things I want to cover because I think that if we cover these things, this isn't really about proving Ashton wrong. This is more about finding out what tools we can use to point out where Ashton is wrong. So it's kind of like arming ourselves with the philosophical razors that we need to slice through the bullshit. Because unfortunately, with social media and their monetization, everything is bullshit. And that's what makes it fun. Now, I don't want to keep covering Ashton anymore than I want to keep covering Flutter. I want to cover a multitude of projects. But this stream that I'm putting up today is a little personal of sorts. And I'll show you why. Now, for those who don't know who Ashton is, let me kind of show you. Yes, it was your fault, DP, but I was more than willing to cut off Ashton because I was drinking too much. Let's see. Let me go to, for those who don't know who Ashton is, let me show you who Ashton is. Now, I didn't get the audio on this because might be some copyright issues, but I'm going to just play this little bit of an intro. It's about 1.5 minutes long. I want you to watch the messages he highlights, and I want you to wait for Ashton to appear on the screen. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Here we call him asshat Forbes. So let's go to this real quick. Let me introduce you to, well, asshat. Aneutronic Avengers assemble. Yeah, because aneutronic propulsion is his big thing. That's his key word, as well as quantum. Again, no understanding of it at all. Oh, look, we are disclosure because he connects the dots using Wikipedia and unclassified documents. Winning. Well, I guess grifting counts as winning. Who gives a fuck? Come on, asshat. Identify some more of those pictures or some more of those messages. Or is that all of them? Yep, I think that was all of them. Oh, look. And here we have the chief cosplayer himself. Puts on his dark sunglasses, puts on a camo shirt, and he thinks he's going to explain to everybody how everything works. The lack of self-awareness we're dealing with tonight with this particular main character syndrome addict, for sake of another word, is high. How high? Well, you know what? By the end of our things, I guess I didn't transition what it was, did I? Fuck me. That was nice. Transition. Here we go. So the first thing is they're calling for battle stations. That's always fun. We're calling for the Aneutronic Avengers assemble. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Stop for a minute. Stop. Let's do this.
Carl Sagan.
Stop. Let's go to, I'm going to go straight to asshat's channel. And I'm going to play this intro specifically because you know what? It doesn't get any better than this because I think the cosplaying that you need to see is hilarious. Come on, play. Okay, stop, Mr. Cosplayer. You kind of ruined the punchline already. Oh, look, fuck it.
Powerful. This country is very powerful. It's far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world that we have. More powerful than anybody, not even close.
Well, I can tell you we shared it with America, but I can't share it with you. Okay? The most advanced offensive weapons on the planet, things that none of the superpowers have, developed by Israel, shared with America.
To defend Maduro, and Americans should be.
Says it about it, but we have a fort in our.
Oh, the Gorgon stare that Ashton Forbes has spoken about both on social media and here on the show. I haven't had Ashton on here in a while.
Don't
but
worry, we'll go over Gorgon stare some other point. It's a weapons, it's a military program that he thinks proves wormholes and everything else. But I digress. Oh, Ashton is jacked. I love that one. Oh, Ashton is very good at his research. Love that one. That one's prime. He's of course got to throw Rogan in there. Oh yeah. So here's his opening and everything else. So now we'll get to the messages and then we'll show you asshat for an introduction.
Far more powerful than people understand. We have weaponry that nobody has any idea what it is, and it is the most powerful weapons in the world. Not even close.
I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that
the dabbing ducks are fucking hilarious on my own part, because Ashton actually does dab on stream on occasion because he likes calling everybody a dweeb, but then does that. Go figure.
is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form
Here's the part that matters.
and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of
Quotes
worlds."
Oppenheimer. There's a
I
totally
suppose we all
debunked
thought
video.
that, one way or another.
Where'd it go?
Are you ready? Welcome to the live stream, everybody. And yes, it is time for war. I have had enough. I have realized we have sat around waiting for too long while our enemies have been gathering and they have been strategizing and planning. And what did I tell you guys 2 years ago? There is no way in hell I'm letting anyone get a hold of the narrative.
That, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, is Asshat Forbes. So what does this have to do with anything? Well, the funny part about his live streams is he quotes a very famous portion. It's a news documentary about Carl Sagan. So he opens all of his streams reading or playing something from Carl Sagan's 1995 prophecy of the demon-haunted world, about America basically sliding into superstition and credulous pseudoscience and the celebration of ignorance. Keep those in mind. Now, he presents this as a context setting of his own truth-telling. Like, it's like his credibility that he's putting on display, completely unaware that he's describing himself. So what do I mean? Well, here, let's let Sagan say this. And don't forget, hail Sagan.
Could not have predicted 2021, but he did see it coming. He wrote the following back in 1995, and we quote, "I have a foreboding of an America in my children's or grandchildren's time when the United States is a service and information economy, when nearly all the manufacturing industries have slipped away to other countries, when awesome technological powers are in the hands of a very few, and no one representing the public interest can even grasp the issues, when the the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas or knowledgeably question those in authority, when, clutching our crystals and nervously consulting our horoscopes, our critical faculties in decline, unable to distinguish between what feels good and what's true, we slide almost without noticing back into superstition and darkness. The dumbing down of America is most evident in the slow decay of substantive content in the enormously influential media. The 30-second sound bites now down to 10 seconds or less. Lowest common denominator programming, credulous presentations on pseudoscience and superstition, but especially a kind of celebration of ignorance. Roll that around for a while. Those were among his final published words. He died 10 months later. Here we are 25 years later, realizing just what he was trying to tell us back then.
What do you think Trump will do? Because
here we go. All right. I'm going to try to fix the sync issue real quick here. Let me do this. Let me see if this is any better. Nope. Hold on. Application audio. New. This is supposed to be don't over me, bro. Oh, maybe it's this one. Nope. Fucker. So what happens when you have too much shit up and you're trying to do things? It's gotta be this one. Let's see if this syncs. No, it does not. All right, we're gonna have to deal with the desync. I'm gonna have to play with that and figure out what's going on. So let me go back over here. So think about this. This guy is literally using Carl Sagan describing about pseudoscience without completely being unaware of himself. The irony is so thick, asshat can choke on it. And trust me, with his ego, looks like he can take a lot orally. So basically, Sagan is describing exactly what asshat is doing later, almost 30 years later. And he's completely unaware of it. So so let me jump ahead here and we're going to get into some of the first things. First things that we're going to talk about is going to be about Diego Garcia. Now, I just need to find a timestamp here. Hold on one moment. Okay. So here we have with Dark Ashton with the sunglasses on, Agent Ashton as they call them or whatever. I don't fucking know. It's his cosplaying that he's in debunk mode, supposedly. He's in disclosure mode. Now, let me play this next clip. And he's talking about Diego Garcia, its history, the reality, and basically the fantasy that he has about it.
New video from Jeremy Corbell that I want to show, and I want to dig into some comments about that. We got Diego Garcia, guys. We have not yet saved Diego Garcia. Just think of this. We are the only community, period, anywhere in the entire world that's trying to save Diego Garcia. And you might say Ashton. You say Ashton. Don't they use Diego Garcia to orb airplanes or something like that? Yeah, probably. All the more reason to save the island. I mean,
I wish I could say this is the peak main character syndrome, but it gets so much worse a little bit later. So much like this, asking himself rhetorical questions and shit like that, referring to himself in the third person, thinking he's out to save an island, is not even close to what you're going to see a little bit later. So, pace yourself if you're doing the drinking game.
I thought I was clear about my position, but let me reiterate it. Y'all cattle, the low IQ cattle out there, I guess they're being called goyim now.
Does he have to use that fucking word? He can't help himself and has to start throwing around racial slurs.
States in my country has this technology. The only reason why I'm revealing this information is because they won't tell the truth about this airplane that we're going to discuss tonight. So, of course, we need to save Diego Garcia, especially if we're using it in covert operations.
Especially. Nice voice crack there, Ashton.
Now, there's a couple other things, but this actually reminds me of the first thing that I want to talk about tonight. The first thing that reminded me of why even have this conversation tonight? Why even look into this?
Yeah, why?
And then we'll take a look at the Jeremy Corbell clip. And I've got a lot of interesting, fun clips to look at tonight, including a Dan Bongino clip. I think the first ever Dan Bongino clip that we've watched. So, here it is right here.
So, for those who don't know, let me find out. Let's see. He jumps ahead a little bit.
Discord, right now today, was that somebody claimed that the night MH370 disappeared, they were at Diego Garcia, and like a plane came in unannounced, and they had to like close all the windows or what have you and pretend like they didn't hear anything. And at the time when I heard this, I was trying to tie this story to the MH370 story. Of course, I mean, not like in a dishonest way, but
never
like
in a dishonest way. Just because you heard about Diego Garcia before this and you're trying to make it fit your narrative, that's why you went looking for this and you found a clip. For those who don't know, he believes, now the sign behind him there that says 4 orbs, that's his brand. His brand is based off of quantum entanglement, and that 3 orbs, each with might be a net 3 positive charge, is circling around a 777 airliner MH370 over the Indian Ocean. And a 4th orb, which has a combined -3 charge, is over Diego Garcia, and the plane gets teleported there. Now he's talking about he has irrefutable proof from somebody who was there. But I want you to listen to it. Find the red flags for me.
This fit in. And I couldn't understand, like, were they doing that so that nobody would see the plane come down? It didn't really make a lot of sense. Like, how are you going to have a Boeing 777 land at Diego Garcia, even in the middle of the night? There's going to be people like walking around on post, right? How would that work out? So it never really made a lot of sense. I never really talked about it. Let's let this man continue here. Let's see what he has to say.
You never really talked about it because it didn't make sense. Right. That's a good place to start, asshat. However, what do you do?
Sudden, we get word there's a bird coming in. I'm looking at the flight chart. Hey, there's no scheduled bird coming in. What are you talking about? You know what that means, Munger. You've been briefed. You know what that means in your career field. Everybody get off the tarmac. Get off the tarmac. We ain't seen shit. I still got dragged in for questioning afterwards. Tell you right now, you doing this may seem cutesy to you. Like, well, first of all, you could have put the right rank on the man and all his lickies and chewies. Secondly, if that community felt like it, you could disappear.
Talking about Delta Force and special ops. This is where it's coming from. There was a dancing video ahead of time that this guy had an issue with. They took one of the first commanders of the Delta Force, highly decorated veteran, and turned into an AI dancing video. It was kind of like his lead-in, and he's basically saying, "Look, you better put the right respect on the person, otherwise that whole community can disappear you." No one's going to disappear anybody over a fucking AI video, but whatever.
I'm going to talk about something that I was going to wait to talk
big
about,
fish.
but that part there just reminded me of it. That community could make you disappear. That community could make you disappear. Why? Because they're doing operations that are illegal.
So,
that if they were,
we're gonna stop here. We're gonna come back to this because I actually played a little long. As Big Fish is talking about, Forbes claims that Diego Garcia was used to receive a secretly landed or teleported MH370. 289 people on board. His entire evidentiary basis is one anonymous social media clip of a man who says he can't say what year he was there, but was there, and said, clear the tarmac, you haven't seen anything. Now, something a little interesting here that someone like Asshat hasn't done. I've been to Diego Garcia. I got to fly into Diego Garcia. Nice time. What does Diego Garcia look like? Well, for those who don't know, Diego Garcia is this horseshoe-shaped little atoll, coral island in the middle of fucking nowhere. Now, interesting enough, it was originally owned by, how do you pronounce it? The Merilutians or something like that? A tribe owned it. England came in, kicked them all out. You know, so kicked them all out and basically took over the island. Then, so the Chagos Island basically has a dispute regarding the sovereignty. This is real and it is very serious. In 1965, yeah, 1965, the UK created the British Indian Ocean Territory by separating the Chagos Archipelago from Mauritius, displacing the entire native population between 1968 and 1973 to make way for this base. Now, hold on a second. We're going to show this a couple different times, but here's the base. It has a giant airfield. It has support. It has things. It also used to have an NSGD, or a Naval Security Group detachment, which I was part of. Well, I wasn't part of that detachment. I was part of the National Naval Security Group. They did HFDF there, or what we call high frequency direct flying. We'll get into that. But basically, the UK taking of this island is a well-known, well-documented human rights case. And it's in the courts, and the UN have repeatedly condemned this. Now, there's a treaty dispute over the base's long-term future, and this is a legitimate concern. Kennedy's arguments about the Chinese influence over the Mauritius and the strategic implications of U.S. basing rights are mainstream, and they're valid. Basically, we have a base there. The island's kind of split in two. Half is British, half is U.S. During not the most recent, but the previous attacks on Iran, were 6 months ago, they obliterated the whole nuclear capabilities. They use B-2 bombers based out of Diego Garcia. It has a rather long airfield. So it has a real history, and it has a history that's kind of clouded in, not necessarily conspiracy, but it's definitely clouded in some political ramifications and a native population displacement and things like that. Thanks, Max. Hold on, let me take a look at that real quick. Click the wheel for the audio mixer, and click the source for the videos playing, and add 30 seconds. Oh, okay, hold on. Desktop audio. Add 300. Okay. Cool. Let's see if that works. Thank you, Max. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so now they're trying to sell it to the Chinese. And obviously we have a problem with that as Americans because we have a supposed 99-year lease, as well as it's a really big base for signals intelligence. Because it's, well, besides it being in the middle of nowhere, it's really close to areas that we are actively engaged in. Even during my time, 30 years ago, we were actively engaged here. Now, let me turn on satellite view. So, like I said, I've been to Diego Garcia. I had to do a crypto run. You land here on this nice, big, long-ass airfield that was actually extended, as you can see, from shore to shore at its longest possible point to accommodate B-52 bombers. The other thing that's there, and was there during my time, is if you go just a little north, you have this little collection of buildings here. Now, just off from the soccer pitch, the basketball courts and tennis courts. Oh yeah, let me preface this. This island is almost entirely only military. You can't even bring your families. It's called isolated duty. So because isolated duty, your rotation times are only a year. So the people who are there are military. This little building that you see here, this tiny little building, and this big circle you see that's kind of mowed around it, well, that is an HFDF antenna. And specifically, it's the small version of what we call an elephant cage. It's part of what we call the classic wizard HFDF. It's a node. So it does high frequency direction finding. It listens to frequencies in the it listens to communications in the high frequency band, and therefore tries to do a bearing to it. And then additional locations. So we had them kind of like all over the world. So additional locations would be Suda Bay, Crete, Bahrain has an intelligence, and then even Japan and things like that. Is we would try to get a triangulation between these different sites. When you get a triangulation, now you know its source. Very advantageous when you're trying to identify command and control capabilities and stuff like that, because HF is the only frequency that does not go line of sight. Pretty important. Now, this antenna array is basically a small version of what we call the elephant cage. The signal hits the antenna at a certain spot, and you can tell what direction is and bearing and stuff like that. I won't go into all of that and everything else, but just as a side note, these are all the other buildings that are going that are part of this. You see these radomes over here for communications to satellites. That's going to be EHF, UHF, and SHF. Basically, these are all your SATCOM terminals. These are the buildings I went to. Now, I didn't exactly have a lot of time to explore the rest of the island, but I saw all of the island because, well, its average height is 4 feet above sea level, and the maximum height, I think, is 25 feet above sea level. So you kind of see all of it, regardless. So this base became strategically valuable in the post-1979 Iranian Revolution, through both Gulf Wars, through OEF, OIF simultaneously, and because it sits equidistant from the Arabian Gulf, South Asia, and East Africa under a geosynchronous satellite footprint. So in this AOR, it's not exact, but this is where kind of like, this is the zenith from Diego Garcia, is where the geosynchronous satellite is that we used. Now, besides, that's about the only thing he got right. And when he talks about saving it, he wants to talk about saving it from the Chinese and saving it from everything else without actually understanding, one, anything about the geopolitics, and two, what the actual capabilities are of the island itself. But this island becomes very important because we're orbiting planes there. Now, I want you to keep that in mind. So, Forbes asshat wants you to believe that a Boeing 777 with 239 people either landed or was teleported and then landed at Diego Garcia in the middle of the night. He doesn't really say which. So MH370 disappeared at approximately 1:21 a.m. Malaysian time, meaning in the Diego Garcia arrival in Forbes scenario occurs in the dead of night, and the local time is approximately midnight to 1 a.m. Now, Diego Garcia's air traffic control does not close. Doesn't matter what flight comes in, it does not close. And the frequencies are not encrypted, and they're also commonly known. They're public. It does communications. It has recorded radio frequencies. It has mandatory radar separation responsibilities for aircraft and a paper trail for every single aircraft movement, even the classified ones. You cannot tell controllers to close the windows and close the curtains. They are the windows. They still need to land the plane. And every transmission is recorded. Could it be classified? Yes. But just because it's classified doesn't mean it believes what asshat thinks it is. But has he gone to check? Has he filed a FOIA request? Has he done any of these other things to verify any of the bullshit he spans? No, absolutely not. So, an unknown. So here's what. So think about this. About what happened. Everybody on the island is supposed to be hiding behind windows with curtains drawn and not looking out anywhere on a flat island. When a very large aircraft with a tail height of 65 feet lands on the aircraft, so that means that air traffic control has to be in on it. The base commanders have to be in on it. Oh, yeah, by the way, the Brits have to be in on it. Everybody has to be on it. So this 777 comes in as an unknown primary radar return. And it has what? No responder, no squawk code, no flight plan, no prior coordination. It just appears out of fucking nowhere. That's an immediate response of fighters being, scrambled, ships going on alerts, and everything possibly being lit up like tomorrow. The approach tower frequencies are published in the international FLIP documents. Every military and civilian aviator in the Indian Ocean region has them. So a 777 that mysteriously shows up, regardless of the fact that the pilot's not even know where the fuck he's at. He's not familiar with the ILS. He's not familiar with anything else, but he's going to hear that he should be turning to this other frequency to talk to ATC. He's just going to arbitrarily do it and land the plane? Or did he teleport right onto the tarmac? I'm still confused. I'm not sure how conservation of momentum works with mythical wormholes. So here's the other part. The approach is this direction. It goes over this lagoon. Now, in this satellite picture, what are these things in the lagoon? These will be ships. Ships would have sailors. They would have watches. They would have active sensors, radar being maybe not active radar, but they would have other sensors out there going on. Everything else, because you're in a home base, but you're still surrounded by water. You don't know where everybody's at. You could be prepping to go. You could be going anywhere, but you're coming in on a 777 this way, right over the water, coming in over this lagoon and landing. It's in full view of the entire harbor, full view of the village, full view of downtown. But hey, fuck it. We don't need to worry about any of that shit. We told them all to go inside and forget you ever heard anything. No NOTAMs, no anything else that gets filed. Just plane mysteriously appears, lands, and gets hidden. Now, so if we were to kind of take this from a scientific point of view, not the wormholes, let's let's skip that for a moment because look, the amount of energy it would take to maintain a wormhole and actually be able to traverse it is the equivalent of more than the sun, if I remember correctly. An actual theoretical physicist who is on YouTube and TikTok by the name of Dr. Blitz, who actually understands wormholes a hell of a lot better than I do, has basically said they're a theoretical concept and cannot be actually, that he doesn't believe that they're real because the amount of energy to actually keep one open is immense, more than anything that we can provide on an earthbound basis, and would require the mass of the sun to create to even keep it open. Let's skip that. I know it's a big gimme that I'm giving away, but let's just skip that. So the 777 materializes in Diego Garcia airspace at 1 a.m. with a crew that has no idea what the fuck where it's at or where it's going. No briefing. No, it doesn't even know what radio codes to squawk. Doesn't even know what radio codes to listen to. All it has is emergency band, and it sees a runway kind of in front of it, I guess. I don't know. 239 passengers are awake, or at least let's say most of them are awake. I mean, I would assume there's some turbulence in the wormhole. I'm just guessing here. The moment the wheels stop, all the cell phones come out. Business class has satellite phones. 289 people from multiple nationalities immediately start making noise, calling other places because they were supposedly going down, and now they're found an island mysteriously in front of them that's going to be their saving grace. Here's the problem. Where do 239 people go on an isolated island with anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 personnel and zero civilian infrastructure? Zero. There's no hotel. There's no holding facility. There's no catering, sanitation, or medical capacity for a sudden civilian influx. In fact, there's not even a fucking hangar. Case in point, hold on, I gotta find the other picture I was looking for. I'll find a picture in a second. There is a Diego Garcia picture of planes on the flight line. These 4 pill bottles that you see here, they're temporary tents, for sake of another word. You can park 2 planes, 2 B2s under them, or 1 B2 underneath of them for each one. Where the fuck are you hiding a 777 on here? You can't. So what? Everyone signs an NDA? Everyone who's part of the military gets right into a secret program and told not to tell anybody about it. Is that basically what he's saying? But the civilians now have to sign something as well. They have to sign this NDA because they're not military. And yet no one knows where they are. No one knows anything else. This is what he wants you to tell you. This is what he wants you to believe. So I don't understand this. But here's the best part. The best part is the part we already heard.
Zero story, of course. I mean, not like in a dishonest way, but like, does this fit in? Reminded me of something. This reminded me of Zero story, of course. I mean, Discord right now today was that somebody claimed that the night MH370 disappeared, they were at Diego Garcia, and like a plane came in unannounced, and they had to like close all the windows or what have you and pretend like they didn't hear anything. And at the time when I heard this, I was trying to tie this story to the MH370 story, of course. I mean, not like in a dishonest way, but like, does this fit in? And I couldn't understand, like, were they doing that so that nobody would see the plane come down? It didn't really make a lot of sense.
Right. Didn't really make a lot of sense.
Like, how are you going to have a Boeing 777 land at Diego Garcia, even in the middle of the night? There's going to be people like walking around on post, right? How would that work out? So it never really made a lot of sense. I never really talked about it. Let's let this man continue here. Let's see what.
If it doesn't make any sense, then why do you fucking continue trying to connect dots? Tori Hanzo with the 100 secs. Thank you, my friend. As always, can't stay away from the shiny button. Thank you. I appreciate it. Goes to the Rum Fund. It'll go to the Lowell Folk Festival Fund, to be perfectly honest, because that's a quick tangent. I'll come back to that in a minute. So he kind of says the quiet part out loud and that it doesn't make any sense, but then he just goes on connecting dots. It does, I mean, but the other problem that we have is, let's say the Americans are all read into the program. Let's say they're under threat of, presidential court-martial or whatnot. Take your pick. What do you do with the Brits? The Brits actually have, it's called Royal Navy Party 1002 or NP 1002. It maintains a permanent presence on Diego Garcia. It's composed of the Royal Navy and Royal Marine personnel. It's responsible for the civil administration, policing, and customs enforcement on the island. They report to the British Foreign Office, not to the Pentagon, not to the fucking CIA, not to SOCOM, not to anything in the American government infrastructure. So in 2014, approximately 40 to 50 British personnel, military personnel, are stationed on the island at any given time. Now, the Royal Marines are part of the security detachment. So now you have to share this supposed secret technology with the Brits. How else can you explain a 777 showing up out of fucking nowhere and landing on this island that has never been done before? So his NDAs have a zero reach into British personnel. Now, for Forbes' theory to work in this, the CIA would need to simultaneously silence all U.S. military under U.S. law. So that's 1,500 to 2,000 people. Coordinate with the British military intelligence and get the British foreign officer to agree to a cover-up of the kidnapping of 239 civilians, including British and Commonwealth nationals, and ensure no Royal Marine on perimeter patrol ever mentioned it to anyone. I think we call that a stretch. This is no longer a U.S. operation. I know damn well that if someone were to come to us and say that we need to close this island down and land this plane, don't worry about it. The first question is to be like, why? So do you disclose this secret, tech to now the British? Would make sense. We have a treaty with them. It's called the Five Eyes Treaty. We covered that before. And for those who don't know, the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance, it's basically the U.S., the UK, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. This means that the British intelligence at Diego Garcia had full situational awareness of anything unusual, meaning they would have been privileged to anything that was coming in. But yet, what? They were all silenced too? Let me guess. They killed everybody on the island and just brought in all new people. How does the fuck does this work? It does not make sense. All right. Let's go to the next problem real quick. I mean, we're just talking about the island, and I'm going to skip over some of the other parts I want to talk about because it's kind of dumb. But let's put it this way. This entire island, maximum elevation is 22 feet above sea level. Average elevation is 4 feet. We talked about this already. There's no hills, no ridges, no large structures, no terrain features except trees that would create any sort of physical obstruction anywhere on the land. The Boeing 777 has a tail height of approximately 60 feet and a wingspan of 212 feet. On a flat atoll, where the highest natural point is 22 feet, that aircraft is visible from every point on the island. But no one says anything. That means it's visible. If it's on the ramp, it's visible from the air, from the ocean, from the island, from the bar, from the post office, from the beach. His entire concealment theory requires hiding an object the size of a warehouse on a flat coral island with no structures tall enough to hide it in. So, did they just throw a net over it? Oh, let's just make it camouflaged. You can't see it. Just like Ashton's shirt he was wearing. We couldn't see him because he was camoed. Timu King Miko. So, out of curiosity, what was Diego Garcia actually doing in March 2014? Now, Ashton says that this place right here is a very secretive, unexplained, mysterious facility with unexplained capacity for secret operations. Now, through documentation, not just now, here's the funny thing. When AssHat does his documentation, it's all on classified documents and Wikipedia, but yet it's hidden. He's the only one who can connect the dots. Bear that in mind. So if he's done all this research, then he would find out what I would find out when I did my research. And that is the B-2 stealth bomber. It's a forward operating location. So one of only a handful of hardened, climate-controlled B-2 shelters outside the CONUS is located on Diego Garcia. And it has a continuous bomber presence for the Indian Ocean and Gulf Strike commitments. They're always there. They might cycle them through, but there's always a contingent there. There's also a P-3 Orion or P-8 Poseidon, depending on timing, maritime patrol aircraft conducting continuous Indian Ocean anti-submarine warfare and surface vessel tracking. They leave from the same airport, go out and do patrols, and go find Chinese subs, go find anybody and everybody who we need to keep track of. We also have pre-positioning ships anchored in the lagoon. These are preloaded with Army and Marine heavy equipment for rapid force projection into the Gulf or East Africa. Those ships we were talking about, full of gear for an expeditious deployment. It also has a nuclear submarine support facility. So it does tending and replenishes submarines transiting the Indian Ocean, each carrying personnel with the highest security clearance in the U.S. military. Then, like I mentioned, we have the SIGINT capability, which is the classic Wizard HFDF network, HFDF. It's been in operation continuously and still operates to this day. Now, the actual there was a bit of a realignment in 2005 where it became a national naval security group activity, and they closed the naval security group and they made it a naval fleet support facility. Different name, same mission. Also, things that are coming out of here. Oh, by the way, so that's just strictly for it's an operation center for processing HF bearings across the Arabian Ocean and South Asian AOR around the clock, 24-hour manned. We also do counter-narcotics and anti-human trafficking operations. The Royal Navy patrol vessel MV Pacific Marlin conducting fisheries and military enforcement operations throughout the British Indian Ocean Territory's waters. Oh, and at the same time, they're finishing up Operation Enduring Freedom support with the Afghanistan drawdown logistics, ISR staging, and aerial refueling coordination. All that was done at the time. So where exactly do you fit a Boeing 777 just mysteriously landing out of nowhere into that whole flight schedule. You don't. So let's go back to our main character syndrome here. Oh, shut up.
What he has to say.
Our main character syndrome. Because Asshat needs himself to be the center of attention. He needs to be the end-all be-all of disclosure. He alone is waging war against all the governments of the world because of free energy disclosure that the American government is hiding from people and mysteriously made an airliner disappear. Through some miracle of physics, of plasma orbs and aneutronic fusion, fission. It's a fucking word salad of words. And if you really want to know what a takedown of Asshat looks like, go to Professor Dave Explains and watch his 2-part series and laugh your ass off, because it is a master class of mockery and go fuck yourself at the same time. So, Mr. Cosplayer here, this is perhaps the most psychologically revealing moment in the entire Forbes stream, and it deserves its own spotlight. I'm trying to figure out what the time. Hold on, I got to find a timestamp here. Hold on. Oh, I just lost my place. All right, here we're at. We're on the main character delusion. Okay. So hour 43.
Developing, if this is true, are we developing this weaponry to fight against aliens that have super crazy advanced teleportation weapons so that we can fight against that? I just throw that out there for you guys to think about, because we may have used this to send a message to China, but I don't think we're developing Harry Potter shit to fight humans. That seems like overkill to me. We can just hit them with a sonic weapon like we did in Venezuela. You break out the teleportation magical AI Jarvis orbs when you got to go to war with a species that can just instantly appear out of nowhere. When they're just bringing magic, you got to bring the magic back to them. So, okay. That was just what I wanted to rant on there. Now, listen to what Bill Maher says here, 13 minutes into this. They talk about the nukes triggering the aliens. And Bill Maher brings up that great point that I mentioned. He says, it seems like these aliens just appeared after nukes started going off. And the prevailing narrative, they're destruction. You could instantaneously
Sorry,
podcast.
I think I screwed up my time slots.
Holy shit.
I'm going to find it here in a second. So here's what I want you to understand about this. Forbes implies, okay, and it places in places states directly that his investigation and his video release caused Admiral McRaven's retirement. What does that mean exactly? Admiral McRaven planned the raid that killed Osama bin Laden. He commanded the most elite special operations force in human history. He survived 37 years of actual special operations, including combat in Desert Storm, Iraqi Freedom, and Enduring Freedom. He commanded hundreds of night raids. He has more combat experience than most nations' entire special forces. But Forbes believes his YouTube stream was powerful enough to reach the CIA, reach SOCOM, or Special Operations Command, and reach the White House, and cause the President of the United States to approve the removal of his own SOCOM commander, trigger a Senate-confirmed 4-star command transition, and accomplish all this within 3 months of the video release. Okay? A lot of moving parts there. This is not investigative conclusion. This is This is basically his own delusional self-assessment. It's his Messiah complex. Forbes has implicitly positioned himself as a threat. Oh, I know why. I'm on the wrong one. That's why.
Correct terminology. Covert operation, plausible deniability, just be dark woke. I don't really know how to make that work, but it's just I like how it rolls out the tongue. Dark woke. You don't get to be dark woke. You aren't dark woke that nobody cares about. We are dark woke. We are the ones that tell you the truth, the uncomfortable truths that you don't want to hear. Okay. But look at this. He only held this role for 3 years, and he steps down in August of 2014.
Look at the smug smile. Look at the eye raise.
Hold up. So let me just do some quick math in my head here. MH370 happens in March of 2014. And then in May of 2014, 2 months later, the MH370 videos leak on the internet. Biggest leak of military videos ever. Show clandestine, or sorry, covert. We learned the correct terminology. Covert operation, plausible deniability, with magical plasma Jarvis orbs from the Marvel movies.
Jarvis, not just Iron Man anymore.
That had to be a major stain on somebody. Somebody had to take the fall for
Somebody had to take the fall for this, okay? This is his main character syndrome. So this is not investigative journalism. This is a fucking AI grok output, which if you look at any AI output at the bottom, it could be wrong. Please check your sources. Asshat doesn't know how to do that. But in this case, he's not exactly wrong, but we'll get to that in a minute. The clinical term that you're seeing, okay, so let me rephrase this. So what I'm saying is that this narcissistic asshole positions himself as a threat significant enough to topple a 4-star U.S. Navy admiral. The same admiral who ran the bin Laden raid with a live stream. Because of his live stream, this 4-star admiral got canned. He had a stain and someone had to take a fall for it. He was the fall guy. Imagine that. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. McRaven did not know Ashton Forbes existed. The U.S. government did not know Ashton Forbes existed. The CIA does not know that Ashton Forbes existed. And a retired 4-star admiral running the University of Texas system did not know Ashton Forbes existed. None of them knew. The retirement happened because of statutory law, a completed tour, and a full billet board. And the videos had nothing to do with it. So what do I mean by a billet board? Well, it's simple. Let me backtrack a little bit here, and you can talk about McRaven a little bit.
Why work hard? That's why we made slave machines. Until the machines have become sentient until they've stopped being fed off of Reddit, we don't have to worry about the machines overthrowing us. So I'll just abuse the machine and make it do all the hard work for now until that day comes. How does the command structure work for covert operations? Pretty smart question, right?
No.
So most require approval from top national leadership, including the president, for that. Typically insulated from standard channels, okay, all stuff that we know. So for the United States, the chain of command, the primary agency is the CIA. We already knew that. Through its Director of Operations, formerly the National Clandestine Service. So this includes several different types. So there's field operations report to the field chiefs. These roll up to the Deputy Director of Operations and then the CIA Director, who reports directly to the National Director of Intelligence or Director of National Intelligence.
On a fucking Wikipedia page,
Now,
Ashton,
this is
move on.
There you go. People wonder who knows about MH370. Well, now I can say pretty clearly, no matter what the names of these people are, the president, the director of the CIA, probably whatever this DO is, this director office, those are probably the people that you really want to know. The people that are like the 31-year managers that aren't the director because they're not appointed positions, but they've been in the CIA for 30 years, right? But they're the project managers of the clandestine operations. These are the people that are going to know. And the DNI. Why? It says it right there. The director of the CIA reports up to the DNI.
As someone who's done actual intelligence reports and everything else, you get raw intelligence, it gets fed up, it gets sort of interpreted, it gets added, it gets shortened, it gets expanded upon any number of ways and ends up in a briefing. The briefing can change from a very technical briefing to a very layman briefing. It could be short and specific, or it could be long and drawn out, depending on what's required. Generally speaking, because of the amount of intelligence that comes in, it's basically one-liners. We had a report that would come out, and it was basically 2 or 3 sentences based on various topics that were deemed important for that daily dissemination of a report. During my time, it was called CNO notes. It was from the Chief of Naval Operations notes, and it was basically all the information that we needed to understand process that was based on intelligence at the time for that day. And that got fed to the admiral, and the admiral was able to make battle group decisions based off that information. But that was just one piece of a multiple piece of information. When you get to the DIA and president level, you might get 2 sentences. Is there plausible deniability? I guess you could say that, but they could also ask for more information. It's not like it's hidden. This command structure has been in place since post 9/11, if not before.
There you go. And ultimate authority rests with the president, who must issue a finding authorizing significant covert action.
He's using Grok to do this when he could actually piece it together by just Googling it and doing research. But he doesn't know how to do research, which is why he uses Grok.
With prior notification to Congress. Now, I'm going to go ahead and guess that they can get around this whole notification to Congress thing.
No,
and
you'd be guessing wrong. Because while the ultimate authority rests with the president, you can't do anything without congressional approval. So there is usually a gang of 8, which is read in on intelligence programs and has the highest clearances and get daily briefings on what's going on in the intelligence world. They know what's going on. They can put a stop to anything at any time. You cannot get around notifications. If you try to go around notifications, that's how people get impeached. That's how people get their wrists slapped. And that's how, I don't know, disclosures to newspapers happen.
The reason why I'm guessing that is I really don't think these people in Congress know about MH370. Some of them could, though. Wouldn't be impossible. I just don't believe it, really. Okay. Let's keep going here. Special Forces. So this is something I also didn't know. Special Forces SOCOM, which oversees these units like Delta, SEALs, Green Berets, there's a hierarchy. So, for example, said
most special forces can only operate overseas. They cannot operate within the U.S. without strict congressional approval. Same thing with the CIA. Just putting it out there. There's guardrails in place to keep things from happening like that.
SOCOM components, JSOC is a SOCOM component. So to me, the way this reads is that JSOC reports up to SOCOM. So for those of you who are saying, well, no, SOCOM was in charge, maybe JSOC, maybe Joseph Vodal and William McRaven know. Because if there was an attachment that was assigned to this operation, it would have been under SOCOM, and it might have been one of the specific JSOC teams.
SOCOM is the command for all special forces. It was under McRaven for the from 2011 to 2014. So let's let him continue, and I'm going to tie this all together for a bow for you.
There you go. Okay. Wait, where's my thing?
Ashton, if you can't find your thing, that sounds like a personal problem. You should have that looked at.
This flows up to the SOCOM commander, who reports to the Secretary of Defense and ultimately the president as the commander-in-chief. Well, there you have it. I mean, there you have it. So, president, Secretary of Defense, SOCOM commander. That's the hierarchy right there. So,
you know what? I'll just let him go.
Yeah, William McRaven, brother, you made your bed, homeboy. You made your own bed. This is on you, my dude. I am going to be watching William McRaven like a fucking hawk, and I want to know if he ever talked about MH370. In fact, that's your guys' homework assignment. Find this dude ever talking about MH370. I want to get somebody to ask William McRaven about MH370. There's basically a 99.9% chance he knows about the operation.
So here we have a Bert Seidel version of, go put your hand on the Bible and tell me that what you know about MH370. I'm just looking up something real quick. I'm going to let him. Go ahead and continue.
Woo! BTW. Intermission. If you want to orb me to Diego Garcia, my body is ready.
I would like you, asshat, to take a willing header out of a third-story window. No, actually, I take it back. I want you to get the fuck off the internet and get a real job. If your investigative powers are so fucking pristine, get off the internet and get a real job doing actual real work where you have reasons to show your fucking sources, because right now you're showing nothing.
I just asked that you make it quick. Make it quick. I've had enough of this woke shithole world. I've had enough of it. I've had enough of the bullshit. I've had enough of the traitors. I've had enough of the fake people. I've had enough.
He's had enough of the traitors. All those who hide the free energy, by the way. Those are the traitors. Those are the ones who should get capital punishment, and their entire lineage should bear the stain of hiding this free energy, regardless if they're born yet or not. That's what he wants.
Enough of the dum-dums who can't even spell words. I've had enough of all of it. Just send. I want to go to Malaysia. Send me to Malaysia, chat. Okay, sorry. Got a little weird for a second there.
Because you're fucking
okay,
weird,
and then there's
Ashton.
apparently civilian oversight. Now, let's see. What did I want to look at here? There was something in here. So I asked it, who are in these positions? So, Commander-in-Chief, President Obama, obviously. President Obama was in the highest level. Intelligence level, Director of National
I'm sure he had to
Intelligence.
look that up, by the way.
James Clapper. Woo! The clap, chat. The clap. This is where, remember, it was Kurt Metz.
By the way, if I ever start going to hey chat or hey listen to this chat, if I keep referring to you guys as all chat, by all means, fucking tell me to cancel my channel. Tell me I'm turning out to be like asshat Forbes, and I will absolutely either change my ways or delete shit. Please tell me that.
We haven't really seen eye to eye recently, ever since his text message crashed out to me that one day. However, he's
wait, what? Hold up.
Kurt Metzger. We haven't really seen eye to eye recently.
Who the fuck is Kurt Metzger? He's a stand-up comedian, writer, actor, political commentator, and podcaster. Okay.
Ever since his text message crashed out to me that one day. However, he's absolutely right about not trusting James Clapper. Who does Lou Elizondo thanks James Clapper in his book, in the same book where Lou Elizondo is talking about a Predator drone filming 3 orbs of energy in a perfect triangle formation. Same book. No one.
Yeah, because Lou Elizondo is fucking a definite credible, witness, seeing as everything that he published had to get approved by an intelligence committee and therefore was allowed to be disclosed. And all they could say is whether or not it was classified or not. If you make shit up, there's no classification rating. So what's more probable? A guy with 2 failed Netflix series about looking into aliens and weird shit like Graham Hancock, and writing a book for money, or an actual fucking disclosure?
No one cares about that story, that video anymore. Weirdly, James Clapper is the one he thanks. You want to know why? Why do you guys think woke disclosure hates me? Guys, we're 1 degree of freedom away from the people that did the operation. The woke disclosure people are friends with the people that did the operation.
Asshat, you are not 1 degree separated from the people who did any operation. I can say that to a fact.
They're thanking them in their books. You know what? I don't even care if they orb me. I kind of just enjoy the ride right now. I want to see where this goes.
He wants to collect the money in the super chats.
I want to see if we destroy ourselves in a black hole. I kind of want to see all these people get their comeuppance, which is coming. It's coming.
There's a veiled threat.
Okay. James Clapper, CIA Director John Brennan. James Clapper. There's no way John Brennan doesn't know. There's no way James Clapper doesn't know. Military-led.
Here's the thing. There's a very good chance that they don't know, because if you're talking about a military operation, does not include the CIA. The CIA does not interject itself in military operations unless it has to. The military sometimes supports CIA missions, but they're completely different. In fact, the DIA, which is the Defense Intelligence Agency, works more hand in hand with the CIA than Special Ops does.
So if it included special forces, which it seems extremely likely it did, Secretary of Defense was Chuck Hagel. Now, Notice this as well. A lot of these dudes step down the next year.
Okay. Let's talk a little politics real quick. Obama, this is fucking so retarded. So, Obama was president. He was inaugurated on January 20th on 2009. Okay. 4 years from that is 2013, right? And excuse me, then he goes to 2017. These positions he's talking about right here are all appointments that are congressionally approved. So they have to go through a nomination process, they have to go through a vetting process, they have to go through everything else. Who in their right fucking mind would want to be Department of Defense for 8 years? You are basically serving at the discretion of the president. So if he says it's time for you to go, you go. Or if you say, I had enough, bring somebody else in here, I've done 4 years, I'd rather bail, then you go. Because one stint as Department of Defense, or as the Secretary of Defense, I'm not saying the other fucking name that they use right now, one stint as the Secretary of Defense, and you're written for life. You can go on any fucking show you want, write memoirs, do speaking engagements. You don't have to do a goddamn thing the rest of your life. People are going to want your opinion on everything that happens. Why the fuck would you want to work harder? But every one of these, including as he gets into in SOCOM, are basically congressional positions that have to be approved.
I'm probably reading too much into this. Almost certainly I am.
Yeah, you fucking are.
Kind of feels like MH370 was like the last hurrah.
And there you go. There's the main character syndrome. He forced not only a 4-star general to retire, but also a Secretary of Defense, the director of CIA, the assistant director of CIA for operations, the admiral of SOCOM, the vice admiral of SOCOM, or the vice commander of special operations. Who else? They have it listed there. He did. He forced this all himself. Think about that. That's the fucking delusion you're working under.
Was like, President Obama's term is going to end pretty soon. Or he's letting us drone strike as many people as we want. And they do this major operation. It's had to be a huge operation planned months in advance. Just like the letter to me said, actually. Kind of corroborates that. And then all of a sudden they're all retiring. They're all quitting. And it's not like they're waiting for Trump or anything. They're just quitting way ahead of time. Also, I want to point something else out right here. SOCOM commander was Admiral William McRaven. We've been saying his name a lot, and I'm going to be saying it a lot more. Yeah, maybe we should take, also just random thought. Maybe we should just take Dark Woke back. Dark Woke is the most cringe shit I've ever heard in my life. Like when they were trying to make Dark Brandon a thing. It feels like this is one of those things where we can just take it from them. Right? Like they're not holding on to it very hard. We just grab it and make it better. Maybe we should just be dark woke. I don't really know how to make that work, but I like how it rolls out the tongue. Dark woke. You don't get to be dark woke. You aren't dark woke. You are white woke. You are shitty disclosure woke that nobody cares about. We are dark woke. We are the ones that tell you the truth, the uncomfortable truths that you don't want to hear. But look at this. He only held this role for 3 years, and he steps down in August of 2014. Hold up. So let me just do some quick math in my head here. MH370 happens in March of 2014. And then in May of 2014, 2 months later, the MH370 videos leak on the internet. Biggest leak of military videos ever. Covert. We learned the correct terminology. Covert operation, plausible deniability, with magical plasma Jarvis orbs from the Marvel movies. That had to be a major stain on somebody. Somebody had to take the fall for that. Can you imagine the MH370 videos leak? Had to be the biggest drama. If you were at the high enough level to know about that and those videos leak, you are shitting your pants. And you are like, how did these videos leak? How was somebody able to get access to these? How did they get on the internet? Somebody fucked up. And somebody's head's going to roll. Somebody's getting fired. That's what would happen if the MH370 videos leak. And sure enough, in August of the same year, Admiral William McRaven, the guy who would have been in charge of the operation if he was a SOCOM commander, if SOCOM was involved, he just leaves his post. And of course, it gets passed in the media as it was all planned. It was planned at a time. We all knew it was going to happen. Therefore, nothing to look into. Don't ask any questions about it.
So let's talk about what actually does fucking happen. Hold on. Let me take a quick screenshot of this. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about what actually happens in the military, because Asshat has no fucking clue what happens in the military. He basically asserts, or he argues, that McRaven's retirement in August 2014 is suspicious because it follows the alleged May disclosure video link by 3 months, implying that he was forced out as a consequence, as a scapegoat, using his words. This claim collapses on 5 independent lines of evidence simultaneously, and each one is sufficient to destroy it, but all 5 together is a thermonuclear device that just blows up in its fucking face. Let me explain why. There's this thing called statutory law. 10 U.S. Code Section 636 mandates retirement of 4-star admirals at 40 years of service, or 40 years of active commission service. McRaven was commissioned in 1977, and he retired in 2014. 37 years of service. He was within 3 years of that mandatory wall. There is no discretion at this timeline. It's a statutory framework that applies to every 4-star officer, regardless of what they know or don't know about fucking anything. The only realistic path past 40 years is appointment to the Chief of Naval Operations, which is a 4-year statutory term, or Joint Chiefs of Staff or Vice Joint Chief of Staff, which, I'm sorry, not Chief of, sorry, hold on. Yes, it was, yeah, Joint Chiefs of Staff. Sorry, I thought I was saying it wrong, but it's a Joint Chiefs of Staff. So you either be the Chief of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, or you are the Vice Chief of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, which would push the timeline past that wall. That is the only way you can do it. Admiral Mullen did exactly this. He retired in 2011 with 43 years after serving 2 terms as the Chief of JCS. McRaven had no such appointment. Full stop. Now let's talk about the tour structure. DoD practice is very simple. The standard tour length for almost any position is 3 years, but specifically for 4-star positions is 3 years. And it's structured for 4 stars as a 2-year term plus a 1-year extension. McRaven took the SOCOM command in 2011. He therefore got promoted to a 4-star admiral at that point. He relinquished it in August of 2014. So August 2011 to August 2014. This is exactly 3 years. It's a standard 2+1 on schedule. That's not suspicious. That is every fucking year that it happens. It's textbook. And every recent SOCOM commander has served exactly 2 to 3 years. From Fenton in 2022 to 2025, Votel, who actually replaced, who replaced McRaven, was from 2014 to 2016. He only served 2 years. Thomas went from 2016 to 2019. 3 years at SOCOM is normal and has been normal every sense of the word. So your implications are bullshit. But there's a rule here. And this is the shot that just decimates this entirety. The rule that Forbes has never heard of and cannot recover from is this. Once a 4-star officer vacates their position, they have 60 days to be appointed to a new position of equal or greater importance, or they are legally required to retire. So the only place he could have really in necessity gone, if you look at this right here, would be the Vice Chief of Naval Operations that went to Admiral Michelle Howard. She was promoted on July 1st, 2014, and she was in the jobs 58 days, brand fucking new at that time. So McRaven handed the SOCOM colors, as we call it, it's a change of command ceremony, to Vattel on August 28, 2014. The 60-day clock started that day. Every 4-star billet was occupied. The clock ran out. He retired. It's not a choice. It's not a panic move. It's not a consequence of anything except a mandatory by regulation. There is no mechanism that allows a 4-star officer to hover in no position whatsoever, waiting for something to open up. The system is specifically designed to prevent this from happening, and it's to ensure continuous promotion flow. Forbes' entire theory requires a legal mechanism that does not exist. So every chair of a 4-star billet was taken. So he stepped down. But here's the funny thing. The DoD is allowed to have a total of 6 4-star billets, or what we call positions available, at one time. That's it. They are the Chief of Naval Operations, the Vice Chief of Naval Operations, the Naval Reactors Director, which is actually an 8-year billet, PATCOM, or Pacific Command Commander, Nav Forces Europe, or Nav Forces Africa Commander. They're combined. Europe and Africa are combined. And SOCOM. 6 billets, 6 occupants, 0 openings. Musical chairs stopped with everyone seated, and McRaven is now stuck standing. And he had 60 days and nowhere to go. But hold on. I could already hear it now. Assad would look at this, and he would point to Admiral Howard and say, he could have went there. But he had that stain on him, and he wasn't suitable for the Vice Chief of Naval Operations. Assad, you'd be fucking wrong because, again, you don't understand how any of the military works. And I'll explain. The Vice CNO, the Vice Chief of Naval Operations, is an internal Navy administrative and resource management bill. It goes to officers with deep OPNAV, or Office of the Chief of Naval Operations, staff experience, specifically budgeting, programming, and Washington policy work. The Vice CNO runs the Naval's internal machinery. Admiral Howard, that you see up there, had served as Deputy CNO for Operations, Plans, and Strategy, or what we call the N3 or N5 office. That's a direct pipeline to the Vice CNO position. Admiral Ferguson, before her, came from the same track. McRaven's entire 37-year career was Special Operations and Counterterrorism. He never served in OPNAV. He never held a Washington budget or programming role. He was not on the VCNO career lane, not because he was passed over, but because his career track ran parallel to it on a different lane entirely. SOCOM was going to be his terminal assignment by design, and he knew it when he took it. Howard getting VCNO did not deny McRaven anything. It just completed the board. The last open chair was filled 58 days before McRaven stepped down, and it was filled by someone with an entirely different career track that fit the billet. So if you say you could have stayed in another role, you're wrong. If you said you could have gone to this one role, had you done your own research and had a little more input onto how military works, because Assat's never volunteered for anything in his life, then he'd have a clue. So he was forced out early, even though he completed his tour. He retired because he had no place to go. But yet Assat forced him out. Remember when I said the main character syndrome was going to get bad? Here you go. But where did McRaven go afterwards? Right? I mean, it's a valid question. Well, here's the funny thing. When they had Votel be nominated to take over for McRaven, there's a whole vetting process. It's a congressional approved position. That's months in advance, if not even a year in advance, to find the right candidate and everything else. So that part was already in motion before even before McRaven even wanted to drop his retirement paperwork. But after retirement, in July of 2014, the same month that Forbes claims that McRaven was in damage control, panic mode, running for the hills as a scapegoat, the University of Texas Board of Regents publicly announced that McRaven's selection as chancellor of the University of Texas system, the entire system, one of the largest university systems in America, which includes 14 institutions and 220,000 students. And that means, according to his timeline, is that chancellor to run that system was done in a month or 3? Come on. Here's the funny thing. McRaven's replacement was publicly announced by Secretary Hagel on June 24, 2014. That was before the alleged video leak timeline Forbes requires. The Senate confirmation hearings were July 10th. The change of command was August 28th. The entire succession process was already in motion before any video hit the fucking internet. But yet, Forbes thinks he caused this all. And the worst part, the fucking worst part about this is no one in his live stream questions this shit. But wait, let's go ahead and talk about the Delta Force problem, because if you don't go to TikTok for your disclosure, then where do you go?
Hold on, I'm gonna mute this part. I don't want to get copyright strike for music here. Hold on. Okay, there we go.
No, you didn't. My man, or woman, I don't know who's running that account. Take that down. Take that down.
I know dang well you didn't just turn the Sergeant Major Vining of Delta Force into some AI dance trend. Do you not fear for your life?
He was.
Okay, so this guy's apparently some kind of super goat, right? He was like Delta Force. He was Delta Force, one of the OGs of Delta Force commanders, right? So everybody respects him. Okay, keep going.
EOD. A Sergeant Major of Delta Force who's EOD. Did I mention Delta Force? These dudes that go into places and erases it. Their presence was never seen, felt, or known. I had an experience with Delta Force before. Hard to believe, right? Yes, totally. Hey, Diego Garcia, not going to say the year. I'm doing the mission. All of a
You know it's coming, chat. Wait for it.
He is so
Not
fucking
gonna
cringe.
say the year.
If my fucking daughter brought this asshole home, I swear to God, I would kick his ass out the door and then tell her to find someone new before she came back over. And I'm not playing that fucking dad, role like, like something to be, like to be an asshole. So who he's talking about real quick, I just want to give you guys just a little bit of a thing of why a first sergeant would take offense to a YouTube thing of somebody dancing. Look, I find it fucking funny. And to be honest, I think this guy found it funny too, but he wanted to correct somebody and show something of what it was. And that is this. Here you go. You have Mike Vinning, okay? Mike Vinning basically enlisted in 1968. He had a 2-year break and then he basically retired in 1999. The guy's still fucking alive. He was the Ordnance EOD detachment commander. He was or sergeant major, so that's the senior enlisted for these. He served in Vietnam, Operation Eagle Claw, Operation Urgent Fury, Gulf War. He has a Legion of Merit, Bronze Star, and his alma mater is Excelsior University. He was one of the first EOD programs basically sent to Vietnam in 1970. And blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Him and his, okay. So this is what we call a like a salad bar. Okay. These are all his awards. So you start with the Combat Infantry Badge. You come with the basic Parachutist Badge, Legion of Merit, which is very high up, Bronze Star, Defense Meritorious Service, again very high up, and also got it twice. That's why he's got an oak. That's why he's got an oak leaf. I did not mean to click that. Let's see. Meritorious Service Unit, Joint Service Commendation Medal. I'm sorry, that's this one here. So Meritorious Service, which is basically just a downgrade of Legion of Merit, the Joint Service Commendation Medal, Army Commendation Medal, Joint Service Achievement Medal with an oak leaf. Let's see, Army Achievement Medal, Army Good Conduct Medal with four silver pieces, which means 8 times it's been awarded. 1 Service Star, Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal with a star, which means he earned it twice. Vietnam Service Medal with 3 Bronze Stars, which means he's earned it 4 times. Gulf War, which he earns twice, and so forth and so forth and so forth. And lastly, he has the Free Fall Parachutist Badge and the EOD Disposal Badge. This guy's a fucking goat. Regardless of how he looks in this picture, that guy is a goat. That's why this first sergeant is taking a piss.
Why not? Why you're not going to say the year? Okay, I'm going to let him continue. But right off the bat here, this reminded me of something. This reminded me of I don't know if it was a rumor, a story, or something from the investigation, from the MH370 investigation that we collectively did together. One of the probably thousands of pieces of evidence that are still in our evidence Discord right now today was that somebody claimed that the night MH370 disappeared, they were at Diego Garcia and like a plane came in unannounced and they had to like close all the windows or what happened.
All right, hold on a second. So in his Discord, there's this evidence that somebody
claimed that the night MH370 disappeared, they were at Diego Garcia and like a plane came in unannounced and they had to like close all the windows or what have you and pretend like they didn't hear anything.
Yeah, ask that. Did you ask for any sort of, I don't know, fucking receipts? Did you confirm this at all? Do you know how to confirm this? No? Okay.
And at the time, when I heard this, I was trying to tie this story to the MH370 story, of course. I mean, not like in a dishonest way, but
No,
like, does this
absolutely
fit
in a
in?
dishonest way.
And I couldn't understand, like, were they doing that so that nobody would see the plane come down?
So here's something funny. That protocol that he's talking about actually exists. It applies to any classified aircraft arrival. Now we're talking about black ops. We're talking about secret flights. We're talking about a foreign diplomat who has engine trouble. This protocol sort of exists, but the problem is he makes it sound like it's the only way to do this. And the problem with this is that he has no validation of any of that statement to begin with in his Discord. He has no idea how to even look for that. But yet, because this protocol exists and could have happened on Diego Garcia, therefore, orbs are real, MH370 is there, and we have free energy everywhere. Make that fucking make sense. How do you jump from a protocol existing to that shit? That's a Grand Canyon size of evidence that's missing. So his primary source is an anonymous person who explicitly refuses to give the year of his deployment, says he was there, and Forbes accepts this evidence uncritically, just accepts it outright. Because it validates his bullshit and his grift. It's not connecting dots. He's literally drawing dots around a line that was already there. Remember, the story never made sense for him, right? He never really talked about it, but then he reverses course and uses it anyway as a foundational evidence. All right, one last thing I want to go after here because it's fucking
It didn't really
hilarious.
make a lot of sense. Like, how are you going to have a Boeing 777 land at Diego Garcia, even in the middle of the night? There's going to be people like walking around on post, right? How would that work out? So they have like a protocol for when a special operation is conducted. You got lying intentionally because I figured it out because I watched that.
Hold up. You figured out what? Hold on. I want to go back here a little bit. What did you figure out?
I still got dragged in for questioning afterwards. Tell you right now, you talking about that. Sudden, we get word there's a bird coming in. I'm looking at the flight chart. Hey, there's no scheduled bird coming in. What are you talking about? You know what that means, Munger. You've been briefed. You know what that means in your career field. Everybody get off the tarmac. Get off the tarmac. We ain't seen shit. I still got dragged in for questioning afterwards. Tell you right now, you doing this may seem cutesy to you. Like, oh, you doing it. Well, first of all, you could have put the right rank on the man and all his lickies and chewies. Secondly, if that community felt like it, you could disappear. You could disappear.
I was going to wait to talk about, but that part there just reminded me of it. That community could make you disappear.
Asshead, you're talking about special operations. You're talking about guys who are trained to be ghosts. You're talking about teams of people who are taught to swim or march in behind enemy lines and cause havoc. They are trained to do hostage rescue. They're trained to do any number of things. If they could make you want to disappear, they would make you disappear. That's not a fucking thing. But here's the thing, Ashton. None of them knows who the fuck you are and cares about what you have to say.
That community could make you disappear. Why? Because they're doing operations that are illegal, that if they were exposed, their lives would be over. They would be exposed as, in some cases, massive hypocrites because we're supposedly supposed to be defending our country, but we're, in some cases, doing crimes to do that. And I'm going to show you at the end of this stream exactly how the CIA justifies things that are clearly immoral, like lying intentionally, because I figured it out. because I watched that.
You figured it out, asshat. I'm not sure how, but you figured it out. You used your big brain mass intellect of fucking stupidity and figured it out. You connected the dots with your fucking crayon and you came up with what you wanted to come up with. But let's hear what you figured out, because God, it's got to be fucking hilarious at this point.
I went, wow. They have like a protocol for when a special operation is conducted. It's not MH370 that was landing at Diego Garcia. That's not what he's talking about. He's talking about the Delta Force team or whatever was deployed in the operation. He's talking about them landing back at Diego Garcia. He's saying that when the special forces team was never there shows up, everybody shuts down the radar, looks the other way, says nothing.
Whoops. That's not what I wanted to do. Hold on.
About that.
So he admits the story doesn't make sense, and then he calls out this protocol, right, for Black Ops. Now, here's the funny thing. This protocol that he's using applies to classified like F-117 Nighthawks or B-2 arrivals. It's drone ops, broken down VIP aircraft like we talked about. This protocol exists, but because the protocol exists and because this guy who he's quoting doesn't say what year he was there, someone else said he was there and saw the protocol when he was in Diego Garcia at the exact same day. Again, no validation, no anything else. It is literally a fucking mass delusion unless he can verify the guy on Discord and ask him where he was at, ask him specific parts about the base, verify that he was stationed there through a FOIA request in his service record. It's all bullshit. I guarantee it's someone clout chasing who wants to get noticed by fucking asshat for whatever reason. All right. Let's talk about the chat bot that he uses, because that's fucking hilarious in its own right.
Just asking around Grok for some of the information provided quite a bit and gave me this document. Actually, it's recent. Michael Elmer, September 21st, 2025, a guide to covert action. Now, like I told you, it's very important to understand how these covert actions operate. So I'm going to go through some of the points here. Covert action, covert operation, the goals of these are basically to help our government out through action of our state. I mean, seems pretty obvious, but there you go. It says, covert action aims to pursue goals of the state by intervening in another state's action or means. Although the terms covert and clandestine are often interchangeable, that's a contextual error. Clandestine translates into an activity done in secret and undetected. So clandestine operation is a secret operation. Covert actions are primarily concerned with plausible deniability. Therefore, outside the public purview, not yet required to be undiscoverable by the target state. Now, already, if you're a smart person, you should be listening to this and you should be going, wait, everything's like defined down to this granular level? Yes. This is how the government works. Everything is codified in the government. Even their little clandestine operations, even the way they cover up the operations. Everything has to be spelled out on what they're allowed to do and how they're allowed to do it.
No shit.
So what this means, and this is what the conspiratards struggle with.
Ironic, he uses the term conspiratard when that would we would use to describe him.
In their minds, government is this all-powerful, unanimous, this entity, not individuals, just this entity, and it just does what it wants. There's no rules. It can just do whatever they want. You need to understand that's not the case. From your perspective, it might seem like they're doing whatever they want. And yes, they have a huge amount of powers to do that, but they are operating within a certain set of rules. Okay. Types of action, propaganda. You guys know all about propaganda. Covert propaganda. White propaganda, truthful and clear messaging, does not require spin. Gray propaganda, propaganda that is neither honest nor outright a lie, or black propaganda, pure disinformation. Now, this is interesting. Propaganda comes up with MH370. There were at least 2 suspicious situations. One, I would say confirmed. The attempted debunk of the MH370 videos using the Gorgon stare whammy photos. The CIA, probably the CIA, I guess, they're the ones who are doing all this, it seems like. We'll get to that, though. They took the Gorgon stare imagery, and I don't know if they edited them or if they were originally like that, but I think they edited them at least slightly and added them to this textures.com website after the videos leaked to make it look like later on, if these videos ever got found out, they knew the videos leaked.
So hold on, hold up. That part's important. They took the textures. Remember all the debunking that went on? If you looked at the Professor Dave video goes over it and, better. And he knows a lot of the people, the Redditors, as he calls it, that debunked him. He's saying now that they took the Gorgon stare, which is, and it's an imagery. I'll show that in a second. And they linked it to the textures. So in case the videos are found out, it's plausible deniability and a debunk in itself. He says this with a straight face, wearing his fucking sunglasses because he's dark ass hat. And his fucking chat right here is fucking enjoying it. They're eating it up like a fucking ice cream cone in the middle of summer. They're like fiending meth addicts saying, we need disclosure. Well, here's your disclosure. So let's talk real quick about what Gorgon stare is, okay? It's a video capture technology developed by the U.S. military. Okay, it's basically for the U.S. Air Force uses it as a it's a pod that's attached to an aerial drone. It has 9 cameras on it. Okay, now here's the funny thing: it was introduced in 2011. Okay, now I'm using the same fucking source that Asshat is using. The Air Force planned to deliver one system in 2011, another one in 2012, and a third in 2014. Though they would not enter service until accepted by the commander in the theater of operations. So there was 3 total in the Air Force in 2014. And he thinks that fuck. Hold on. I forgot what the hell it is. Is it the MK9? MQ9. He thinks a Reaper drone that's carrying this pod, okay, can carry this over and was oversight of where this spot was in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Now, besides the fact, I'm looking for the specifications here. So let's talk real quick about the MQ9 Reaper who might be carrying this Gorgon stare. One, Gorgon stare was basically, it was a classified project until it was disclosed, and then it wasn't a classified project. Not a big deal. Here's what I want to go. It maxes out at 300 miles an hour. Its cruising speed is 194 miles an hour. 194 miles an hour is far below the stall speed of a 777. It also has a range of 1,200 miles. So that means it would have to taken off from India, Somalia, Madagascar, somewhere else in Tanzania or maybe Mozambique, and or somewhere else over here in Singapore and Jakarta or something like that. You know how many Navy bases we have with drones in that area? I mean, I guess it could have been taken off of from Qatar, which is way up here. But that's, how does it get back? There's no place that drone could have taken off. But hey, you know what? Let's forget about the distance right now. And you know, and the speed and everything else. So this was carrying this ISR package, this imagery package. And it's basically designed specifically to have, oh, here we go. In January 2011, it was announced that the program was not performing to expectations and includes faults such as large black triangle moving through the image due to failure to combine the images taken by multiple cameras, a faulty coordinate grid, and chipped out imagery, inferior image quality, blah, 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 blah. It had problems. Now, it said it fixed a couple of the problems, but whatever. So the development costs are in the $15 million range. The system was delivered in 3 tiers, the surveillance down to small details with a broader field of view, so users receiving images within seconds after collection could verify items of immediate tactical interest. What was... It had 368 5-megapixel smartphone cameras clustered together, peering through 4 telescopic lenses produced by BAE Systems, while the IR arrays were produced by Excelsius. These, by 2015, Increment 2 had replaced all the other ones. So that means for his system to work with all the different combines and everything else, with none of the faults that were mentioned, it would have to be a phase 2. But yet phase 2, in July of 2014, phase 2 had achieved initial operating capacity earlier that year. It does not mean it was fielded. And this is all same kind of thing. Open source information, people you can find. And here's the thing. This is what's reported to Congress and therefore unclassified in Congress. Could it have been earlier? Sure. Show me the paperwork. Find a FOIA request. Show me the paperwork. You are making extraordinary claims. Show me the extraordinary evidence. Sagan standards apply, asshat. Where's your standards? You don't have any.
They hatched a plan. They said, oh, these videos leaked on the internet. What are we going to do in case anybody finds these videos or thinks that they're real? We will put some disinformation on the internet. False information used to cover the tracks of the fact that videos leaked on the internet. The other situation that happened was one we talked about a year ago, I want to say, maybe less, where a piece of debris from MH370 washed ashore in Thailand. And it was pretty obviously a piece of it from MH370 because it had very specific, it actually had a serial number on it, American serial numbers on it. There was a giant piece, I think, of the, one of the like engine cowlings or something like that. Huge piece.
This is your fucking forte. How do you not know? Sorry, or ordering dinner and Olivia's hungry. Hold on one moment. 8:30, 6:30. Our time of delivery got moved out by a half hour because the guy has a second stop for the delivery, and Olivia is offended. Because it said it was supposed to be 1806 and now it's 1836. And now she is, well, she feels wronged.
Had to be from MH370. Suddenly, some random sketchy account says, oh, I found this super obscure website blog where a guy's talking about how he was inside Mitsubishi's rocket lab taking photos. And hey, look, there's the exact little bolts that we see on this piece of debris in these photos that are on the internet. These exact bolts seem to match. So this means that this is actually a piece of rocket debris from a Japanese rocket 4,000 miles away. And people are like, oh, yeah, that's debunked. That's not a piece from MH370. Don't look at that anymore. Everything I just told you is 100% true, by the way. Super weird. So, 2 possible instances where propaganda was used in the MH370 situation. And I'm sure there was more. Political action methods. I want to get to the interesting part. You can do economic actions. So this is all stuff we expect.
By the way, this is an obscure blog that he just chastised that he gets this information from. Here's the ironic thing. This whole thing that he's looking at right here. Sorry, I keep pointing at my monitor because my monitor is right here. I'm looking at, I forget that it's up here on the screen. This whole thing that he's talking about is outlined under Executive Order 12333. Whole lot of threes, Freemason confirmed, and the National Security Act of 1947. It's covered in any intro to intelligence studies syllabus. He presents publicly documented government organization structure as classified, like a classified revelation of sorts. But wait, it gets better. Because he's going to name someone and he thinks that he fucking has an aha.
Paramilitary operations is the most hands-on type of covert action. It's a type of action that brings the third operation closest to the second, military. In essence, such operations are generally tied to unconventional and irregular warfare, and they're generally conducted by special operations capable forces.
Now, I haven't watched this, but I'm guessing he's going to say unconventional warfare means orbs. I'm just taking a guess. And if it's right, we all have to do a shot.
Such as the CIA's Special Activities Center, Special Operations Command, SOCOM, and Joint Special Operations Command, JSOC units. Woo! Now we're getting down to the spice now. Let's just let it keep going, and then we'll start talking about what this all means. But we are over the target when it comes to who is responsible for MH370. I told you guys, CIA, Air Force, Special Forces, Department of Energy. The question is, which special forces are involved? But at this point, we've already spoken about it. Admiral William McRaven was the commander of SOCOM. So if the CIA called in for any special forces to be involved, Admiral William McRaven was there. He was the one that was involved with that. Now, also, when I asked publicly on Twitter Robert O'Neill what his opinion was of what Admiral William McRaven, he said he was the best commander he ever worked for. It was almost so over the top praising that it seems suspicious. Like, I was like, hey, this guy's a murderer. What do you think? You're like, oh, this dude's the greatest person I've ever met in my whole life. You're like, huh? Okay.
Yeah. Believe it or not, when you serve in the military, there are some commanders that you gravitate towards and some that you don't. The best commanders you are willing to follow to fucking anywhere. Whether if it's an Antarctic post, you would go there. If it's in the middle of the ocean, you go there. If it's on a fucking isolated island in the middle of the Indian Ocean, 3,000 miles from anywhere, you go there. Why not?
Gotcha. Okay. You guys can go find that tweet probably if you're interested. I'm not going to dig through it. I don't care that much. So what are they going to try to do? Depending on the mission, there may not need to be a deployment of such units. In fact, some of the more sensitive paramilitary operations are best conducted without any U.S. personnel, as the presence can jeopardize plausible deniability. So now, keep in mind, we've got 2 drones around MH370. We've got one at the top flying over it, much higher, and we've got one at the same altitude level.
So, Asshat, I thought that the one that was on top was a satellite. Now you're saying it's a drone? Which drone? Where was it launched from? Where was the other one launched from? What is the effective radius of that? What's the effective speed of that? How did that coincide with MH370? And how does that work with your orbs? like those orbs had to come from somewhere too, right? They didn't just, I mean, did they fly off from a cannon or something? How did those orbs get there? These are all questions that people should be asking. But yet every one of his sycophants are sitting there going, looks good to me. Here's another $10.
There doesn't necessarily have to be.
Look right here. William McRaven, make your bed. They honestly think they fucking found something. The entire fucking cult is delusional.
Other objects there, other planes there, but we do have these orbs coming out of seemingly nowhere. So presumably something deployed those. There might be a command plane. There might have been planes that were hacking MH370. Might have been remote controlling it. To me, I would say it's extremely likely there were other assets in the area. Remember,
I don't have aviator sunglasses, but does this add to my credibility?
Why did Edward Lynn crop? Why did he crop the drone out of the Gorgon Stair whammy footage? The drone is like right out of view.
And you know this how?
At the start of the Gorgon Stair whammy footage. And that footage is pre-recorded that he can manipulate and record after. He did a screen recording while he was manipulating. He cropped the drone out because he didn't want people to see the assets. He wasn't trying to expose all the assets that were involved in the operation, which means it's very possible there were other assets in the operation as well. Very possible. Okay. Examples of operations: assassinations, coup d'etat, trainings, drone strikes. I just thought that was interesting that was there. Cyber warfare. The ladder of clandestine operations. So they're ordered to ascend according to ascending levels of risk. So how do they do this? There's different thresholds. First threshold, routine operations. These are actions that are relatively small and low risk. Second threshold is modest intrusions. These actions raise the level of intensity, yet are overall modest in scale. Third, high-risk operations. It's already said in the name. These actions have high risk, high level of dedication for all involved parties. The last one, extreme operations. These are operations that carry the most risk, highest potential to do severe damage to U.S. national security in the event of exposure. And they require the most resources and funding to execute. I'm going to go ahead and say that MH370 is going to be an extreme operation. If you're going to go ahead and disappear a Boeing 777, a commercial airliner, to dunk on China or whatever, the level of risk there is about as high as it can possibly get. That gets exposed, and you're looking at like Geneva Convention war crimes charges coming your way. I mean, we'll make that go away, but you get the point. Now, this is important because now here are examples. Everybody wonders, what are the types of actions that the CIA is going to do? Also, somewhere in here it repeats, I may have skipped over it a little too fast, but it repeats that the president is the one that decides the policy.
Yeah,
the CIA cannot go rogue. They're the ones that will say, here are the policy options. It seems almost impossible that Obama couldn't, he had to be the one that greenlit the MH370 operation. It's almost impossible that he was not involved. Yeah, so what if he just, PU2 Wizards is this, that's their area? Yeah, so what if he just accidentally saw it? I think that Edward Lynn accidentally saw it, had access to the videos, maybe even shouldn't have had access. He saw it, and he's like, holy shit.
Okay, so by the way, I want to back up here a minute, because something he said
He saw it.
Caused me to
Had
pause
access
because
to
I
the
hadn't heard
videos,
it
maybe
before.
even shouldn't have had access. He saw it, and he's like,
Where is
holy
it? He brings
shit.
up the
And he just freaks out. That's why they didn't kill him. They didn't kill him because it wasn't intentional. Anyway, that's why I think that, yeah. So
Okay,
what if he
so that message that was right there. Hold on a second.
They're the ones
I'm
that
sorry
will
for
say,
bouncing
here are
around,
the
guys. Give me a
policy
second here real quick.
options, and then the
I didn't see
president
this
chooses
before,
the
but now I'm going
policy,
to.
and that's why they take the actions. In fact, at this point, it seems almost impossible that Obama couldn't. He had to be the one that greenlit the MH370 operation. It's almost impossible that he was not involved. The VP YouTube.
So here's the funny thing. He reads it correctly, but the person doesn't. It's not VPO, it's VPU. Okay, so it's the VPU2 Wizards. It is a it's basically a P8 squadron. And I believe they're out of Jacksonville. Oh, I'm just finding it real quick here. Hold on. Yeah, it's based out of Jacksonville. It basically flies the P8 Poseidon aircraft, often reported as a mystery aircraft due to its unique sensor suites, fake serial numbers, and non-standard configurations. It's an ELINT plane. ELINT doesn't always mean ISR and imagery. But what does that have to do with fucking anything? Because they're kind of moved everywhere, kind of the thing. It's wherever they're needed. But there's only so many planes. At the time, we were still going into Afghanistan and being used in Afghanistan as a drawdown. So we had planes like with the Gorgon Stare imagery pod to be able to identify insurgents, track them, prevent IEDs, all sorts of different things that were being able to be used to help the military service. But yet, let's divert one and a P-8 Orion, and let's send it out over here, over this plane, way the fuck over here, away from that battle where American lives are lost because there's going to be a disclosure to the Chinese, and we need to teleport this fucking plane to Diego Garcia. Do you understand how this logic works yet? Because I haven't figured it out.
Wizards is this? That's their area. Yeah. So what if he just accidentally saw it? I think that Edward Lynn accidentally saw it, had access to the videos, maybe even shouldn't have had access. He saw it, and he's like, holy shit. And he just freaks out. That's why they didn't kill him. They didn't kill him because it wasn't intentional. Anyway, I'm going to read through these. This is probably part of the most revealing
They didn't kill him
part
because it wasn't
for
intentional.
tonight, for me at least.
Okay.
Because these are examples of the types of actions, and they're...
Now remember, Asshat here is the same guy who thought that he was going to get killed because he opened up this, he paid $3,000 for this fucking zip file, right? Didn't have the password. They cracked the password on screen. He had a fucking orgasm from hell. I mean, everybody in chat should have been wearing eye protection. He went so fucking nuts, it was obscene. And what did he find? Unclassified documents about a Reaper, unclassified documents about something else, and that's it. And then pawned it off as in like, I paid him to help him with something else, not this. This was just a byproduct. Just not able to accept the fact that he got fucking clowned.
Category, their ranking in the risk scale. Number one, truthful, benign propaganda aimed at U.S. non-democratic adversaries. Number two,
come on,
false,
let's start dropping the names.
Propaganda.
I want you to drop the names from the garage.
Propaganda at adversary parties. What about propaganda aimed at
okay,
neutral nations seeking counter?
Anyone who doesn't know, we do things like propaganda, like missions. All of them are approved missions. But we do things that are unconventional warfare. Why? Because it's advantageous. And why? Because we have the personnel and the training that allows us to do that. Sometimes sending a squad of 6 in is better than sending in a battalion of 600.
Intelligence guidance, political and economic council. Okay, don't care. Now that they would do at these thresholds, like aimed at
come on, name drop, you fuck.
And aligned to your adversary. Fabu.
Warning. Red Chinese orbital strike imminent. All personnel.
What the fuck?
I even risk being copyright strike. In fact, I'm going to. I don't want to hear anybody ever in a million years doubt my patriotism. In fact, I might even risk being copyright strike. In fact, I'm going to. Here we go. We're doing it right now. This is out. This is to my goat. This is to my goat, Liberty Prime.
Warning. Red Chinese orbital strike imminent. All personnel should reach minimum safe distance.
Run!
Immediately.
Liberty Prime, run!
Emergent. And get
1,000 Gundams.
Holy fuck, he is going like
A little
straight
sidetrack,
fucking sci-fi
because
bullshit.
that's actually important. No cap for a second.
You're
The
all
thing
capped,
literally
bud.
mentions whether or not the adversary nation.
Someone said this in chat earlier. You have been fucking flushed in the toilet so many times in your life, and you finally found a fucking cult who's going to follow you. A bunch of conspiratards who believe the bullshit that you're saying. Anyway, one of the things that he drops here, and I don't want to, I feel like I was trying to find an actual thing here, but apparently I missed it. He exposes Frank Archibald as the CIA Director of National Clandestine Services. Here's the problem. It's a publicly documented figure whose role was disclosed after his death in 2020. It's 2026. This isn't fucking new. He's talking about a publicly available framework, and that's specifically outlined in the National Security Act of 1947, as well as the Executive Order 12333. Okay, not hard. But the fact of the matter is, he used AI chatbot to generate a summary of public available government documents, and then presented the org chart he got back as a classified intelligence, and he calls this investigative journalism. This is the bullshit we deal with. This is why I'm here, and this is why I take particularly special sort of thrill out of taking the piss out of asshat Forbes, because he talks bullshit. And while Professor Dave raked him over the coals, I mean, literally bent him over the barrel and had his way with him, he no longer has it. He no longer has it because asshat knew not to poke that bear. So if no one else is going to call it out, I will. It's a little different than Flat Earth. It's a little different than everything else. But as far as I'm concerned, it's still worthwhile, because this is the sort of bullshit we deal with. This idiot right here, and in fact, actually, hold on. The better picture is right here. This idiot right here is everything you need to know about it right now. CK coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. No cap, bro. No, that's right. No cap. Problem is, asshat's all cap. Pure and simple. This asshat right here is the reason why this channel exists. One of the reasons. So when I get tired of Flat Earth, I get tired of other stupidity and other derpitude and stuff like that, I know I can count on dumbfuck here to present something stupid. I'm in the works of trying to bring somebody in with some kind of nuclear background who can talk about things like aneutronic fission and everything else. Let me show you real quick about what some of the dumb fuck shit he talks about, because this is the part I don't like. Right here. The felony physics to secret diffusion. The deep state. Why plasma physicists won't talk about it. His best friend is a guy named Salvatore Pais, who has actual patents for the Pais effect that has never been recreated. It's never been peer reviewed. It's never been recreated. It's never been fucking observed by anyone but himself. But Salvador Pais swears up and down that he will be proven right. And he had a specific one, and I sent it to Marcus Leach, and it was actually pretty funny about how RF systems, I forgot what it was. If you're here, Marcus, help me out here. Something about how RF does something stupid that it doesn't do, and it's just, it made me cringe. And the fact that it was a patent that actually had been abandoned, but like all these patents that he talks about had got a letter of endorsement from the military, I believe the Navy at the time. And the funny thing is there's a lot of people who have a military background that are scientists that believe that it's part of a misinformation, that these things don't really exist. They were filed for patents, hoping that somebody somewhere, an adversarial country, will spend a bunch of money trying to recreate this shit and basically call it Cold War 2.0 or Space Race 2.0. But like all those little reaction videos, all those little pictures, all those little facial expressions, this one alone makes me want to fucking just throw something. Obviously, he's getting ready for a deep throat on that one right there. Yeah, thanks, Ashton. Appreciate that. Appreciate that one right there. That's a good one. This is the stupid shit that he puts in. And if you look at his shorts that he has, who controls fusion? Epstein's connection to a firm. Build the foundation before they did. Stonewall by career bureaucrats. I mean, this is the shit. They can't disclose what they won't credit. All this stupid shit is what he bases everything on. He basically just makes shit up, and everybody that he has laps it up. This is a channel with almost 100,000 subscribers, with over 300 people in his chat at one time, all bowing down, mouth open, ready to take whatever, to swallow whatever he gives it. No one ever asks questions. And if you ask questions, you get blocked. Just like a flat earther. And the funny part about it is asshat is flat earth adjacent. Because he thinks the ether exists. He thinks there's free energy. He thinks there's over unity devices. He tried to sell them. All this other bullshit he tried to do. He'd given up on that when he realized that he was showing a picture from 14 years ago of a device that supposedly did it and was debunked, of an over unity device that he was selling for $50,000 that required you to sign an NDA. That didn't work out for him. So now what's he got? He's got super chats. He's got, he doesn't have memberships, but he has super chats and everything else. Hey, look, if that's your fucking goal, then say so. But I think, and he knows this, that if he talked about actual science, the actual shit that works behind all this shit and how kind of boring it is, he wouldn't have any of these people. He would not have this following. He would not have any of this shit. When we talk about felony here, hold on, let me just search up how he says it, because there was a couple of shorts specifically that I really wanted to look at. He has specifically 4 videos talking about how physics are a felony and they're covering it up. There was one specifically I wanted to play for you. Hold on, let me find it. You know, still trying to say that it was orbed out. There's smoke now there wasn't before. Aliens, free energy. Where is the... Did you take it down? Here's the Nicobar Islands that we talked about, where we showed that he says his GPS. One is 6 digits, one's 4 digits from a decimal point. Like all this stupid shit that he does, he makes outlandish, unverifiable claims because, again, if it's classified, it's proof. If it doesn't say it, they're hiding it. If they do say it and it's unclassified, anyone can find it, it's still a disclosure. That's his operating. He even makes a comment about the thermal camera from the drone, supposedly. He actually calls it Game Boy graphics and admitted he couldn't identify the object. and concluded it was a CIA plasma teleportation weapon. He made that leap. You might as well call him Evel Knievel at this point. I don't know. Like, he is my go-to for everything else. Yes, Alderbaran, you're absolutely right. Deacon is Ethernet exists. Oh, come on. No dad jokes. But these are who we're up against. These are the people we attack. So, you know, I've had enough of giving this asshat fucking oxygen right now. He literally puts out 2 shorts a day. He does a live stream almost every day, and all of it is the same shit over and over. Anytime someone pokes a hole in it, he pivots, changes it, and says, well, actually, that here is seen here, even though I didn't say it beforehand. I don't know what to tell you. Except my camera is too fucking high. Is that better? Nope. Still off a little bit. Okay. Is that better? There we go. I had a gap between me and the bricks. It made me feel weird all of a sudden, like I was missing half my body. So, yes, absolutely coast to coast listener. No doubt about it. Calls for war. He thinks he has a friend in the former deputy FBI of Dan DiGiorno or whatever the fuck his last name is. He thinks he's befriended engineers who have taught him all this shit. Basically, I put him in the same fucking group as space audits. Pure and simple. Don't know what else to tell you. But the funny thing is that if you listen to his streams and you look at the contradictions within his own words, it's paramount that he is trying to make pieces fit. He is literally like carving out puzzle pieces as he goes, cherry picking beyond belief. More cherry picking than anything I've ever seen on the Flurf side, and that includes Witsit. So that's kind of where we I want to talk about a little bit about that. There's a couple other things coming up real quick. So I talked recently about the Lowell Folk Festival that Mike and I are doing. We're still doing that. That has $1,000 buy-in for us to get a table. So at a later stream, Mike and I will be, individually doing our part to see if the community will help us fund it, as well as supplies and things like that. And, if you guys are able to, great. If you're not able to, that's fine too. But we will live stream. We'll have it available for everybody else. Don't necessarily need to send us pizza this time. Now we know we're going to bring food. So CK, while we appreciate the pizza, might not need it this time. Although I did have a hand in that. Although that Uber Eats driver or DoorDash driver, whoever it was fucking a goat for that. Granted, he got a huge tip, but whatever. I definitely appreciate it. Tori, thanks for being here. I greatly appreciate it. We're going to just talk for a little bit, and we're going to send you guys all over to Max afterward, because Max is going to be going live at 7 o'clock, and he's going to be talking about Roger's stream last night. And I got a quick rundown of Roger's stream last night. Where was it? I'm still, one of the things I've been doing too is, for those who don't know, Mordewan, who runs the Globe Gangsters Discord and is also a scientist, he's based out of Colorado. If you watch the Toon stream, he's actually in Ukraine helping develop things for the military and stuff like that. I believe he said drones. The other thing is that I've been helping him going over fiber optic characteristics, explaining how things work, helping design some of their canisters and finding out where the problems are for how they're using fiber optics and stuff. And it's taken up some of my time, but I absolutely love it because it's engineering shit. It's real shit that I get to have tangible evidence for and I get to help out on. And the only reason why I'm doing it is because I want to patch. That's the other thing that's kind of been going on, but we're definitely doing Lowell. We're going to be doing that. I'm not going to be able to get to Artemis 2 because our new corporate overlords are going to be taking over within the next probably 30 days. So that's going to cause its own problems. I hope to maybe get down for Artemis 3. We'll see. It's kind of still up in the air because that's a little ways out. But I'd love to be able to take Olivia down to a rocket launch and have her see it. What else is going on? Working on a new backdrop for you guys. Not necessarily for you, but for me. Getting away from the green screen and putting something up back there. It's basically wood slats. I mean, I can show you guys what it looks like right now, but it's no judging. Let's put it that way. No judging. So let me just take this off. Here you go. So wood slats are going up. I also got a CNC metal sign to hang up on the wall behind me that I'm going to light up. So basically, we're going to mimic this logo with a metal sign back over here somewhere on the slats, and we're going to change this from a green screen to something a little more viable. I hate the green screen. I really do. No, Lindsay, I did not give away the sign yet. So that's something else. Due to work, I've been having problems getting to a post office in time. I do have one sign to send out to Leo. I have one sign to give to Mike from the Drunk to Bunk Show. Lindsay won the other sign. And unless you say otherwise, it's something that he was going to offer to anybody else. It might be in an envelope already. Hold on. How am I going to do the smoke? Well, you never know. We might have a fog machine. I might just start setting shit on fire. We don't know. I mean, the other thing is like the reason why the smoke is there is to kind of show that it's like a live sort of device, like a live background of sorts. I don't know, maybe I'll have lights flashing, inducing seizures for everybody who watches the channel. I don't know. It's one of those other things. But the sign we're talking about is this. So a sign I created with a little help with AI and some and GIMP, which made it a lot easier to do shit. But yeah, in the sense of Uncle Sam, we want you. The Penguins want you for Antarctic Treaty Enforcement. So there you go. So we have another sign available. So if someone wants that, I will say this. The first person to send me an email to unfornicated@gmail.com, I will send it to you guys regardless of where it's at. I will pay for shipping and everything else, and it will go out to you to hang on your wall. The only thing I ask is that you take a picture afterwards so I can see it for only, well, ego purposes, I guess you could say. So, I don't know. I thought about doing a shirt, but then I thought about, I'm like, this looks like a poster. Like it's the Uncle Sam thing. We tried to do it around and this is what came out of it. So I do have some that goes out, but I don't know, it's fun. I'm going to have some new, I'm going to be retiring some designs from the Unfornicated shop, and I'm going to be adding some new some new merch. One of which is going to be actually, there is a members only one. That's where the blackout design is at. I'll be moving that into the store probably within the next couple of weeks. So if you wanted the blackout one, there's that. It's separate from the membership. And I'm doing another design. I'm going to be doing a Global Conspiracy Company shirt because I want to wear that at the Lowell Folk Festival because I think it'd be funny to have they writing around for that. But, you know, as always, if there's anything you guys want to collab on, if there's anything you guys want me to cover, if there's any designs that you guys have, check the Discord. It should be under the channel about page, or reach out to any of the mods who are here. They can post a link and everything else, or good old fashioned email works. I do check the email daily to make sure I'm not missing out on anything, and we can discuss things from there. If you do a design that I love and I'm going to put in the store, I will send you a sample for your work. So let me just say that. Oh, one other thing we're doing. A slight change. Hold on, bear with me for a second. Sorry, all my shot glasses are falling. Yeah, Max, I know what you mean, because my problem is now is like, how can we do a top left video of someone who keeps just doing more? Like, we finally had to do a cutoff at some point. Hold on a second. So yeah, I mean, it's hard when they keep lowering. So what we're going, there's going to be a new change. So I kind of want to run this by you guys since you guys are here. I retired the weekly STV report because, to be honest, the humor didn't necessarily resonate with everybody. I get it. I found it funny, but if no one watches it, then the information isn't getting out there. So it doesn't need to be packaged in some sort of like weird fake medical diagnosis of stupidity. And to be perfectly honest, it was more work than I wanted to do anyway. So what we're doing is we're going to start doing a series called Reality Checks. And here's what it is. So our intro is going to be a file folder with a cover sheet going over all the different aspects of claims and whatnot and things like that. Hold on. There we go. And the intro is going to be basically this on the desk. And when we get done with it, it gets that nice, big, fat, unfornicated stamp across it. So that's going to be called Reality Checks going forward. Those will be the debunking videos. And then we'll also do videos like today, which is going to be a case file, which is going to be, we're looking at somebody or a bunch of people and what their motivations may be and things like that, and where they're inherently wrong as a whole. So not necessarily a debunk of the actual information, but just an outline of why people do certain things and how they do it. So it's more or less like, you know, apply philosophical razors like Occam's razor, Sagan's standard, things like that. So we can have a toolbox of things that when we see stupidity in the wild, we can apply them ourselves, and hopefully other people who aren't necessarily on this stream any number of times can apply them themselves and maybe not fall into a rabbit hole of their own design. But along the same route, I am going to hopefully be more regular in my content, and things have been a little hectic of late, but hopefully it looks like they're starting to slow down, but I'll probably jinx that now. So go figure. Jim Daniels with the 10 Unfornicated gift memberships. Thank you, my friend. I greatly appreciate it. Those went to a lot of people. They went to Fletcher Boy, John's Cars and Stuffs, Jimmy G, DCR, Sour Pounder, Life After Fentanyl, Otto MDX, hey, I know Otto, Helgi, Mr. Matt Bat, and Lesbo Sack. I don't know all those people, but hey, even better. I will take it for what it's worth. Thank you very much, Jim. I greatly appreciate that. You are a supporter of the stream, and I thank you for that very much. And just so you guys understand, like anytime I get a super chat and or gift membership, stuff like that, it feels weird to me. I'm still trying to get used to this because I never expected to get to that point. And I don't know how to say thank you enough. To me, just saying thank you doesn't cover it. So whether it's a $1 or $100, it doesn't matter because it's still something very different to me. And that's something I'm getting used to. But I will say there's a couple people in chats that are over a month now because their logos have changed to not just a circle, but the triangles. So you see next to their name, there's some people like Tori, some people like Geek, CK, and Dougal, who actually have the triangle, Unfornicated triangle in their memberships too. So that means that you move past the month, and I appreciate the fact that you guys are here for that. Yeah, Craig doing a membership drive. I know I'm losing viewers to him, and I know that he's still going for like another 21 hours or some shit. Last time I saw it was 33 hours, and that was, I don't know, earlier today. But you know, I wish him the best of luck on his membership drive, since he does this full time. My full-time job, unfortunately, requires me to do other shit that takes me away from YouTube. But I hope you guys are here. I hope you guys like the new changes. Hopefully you guys will like the new backdrop once it gets up. I'll be working on that this week. I started hanging them up, and now I gotta start cutting panels with a circular saw. So the trick is not to lose a finger. Hopefully that won't be a problem. But with that, we have 9 minutes until we go to max. So if there's anything you guys want me to read or want me to say, just tag me on it, and we'll be happy to have a quick discussion about it. But I will say this: I'm appreciative of all you guys who have been here and been supporting the channel, not only with memberships or super chats, but just being here to listen. Like I said, saying thank you does not seem to be enough, and I have a hard time kind of putting that in the words sometimes. So if you hear me say thank you, just know that I honestly do thank you, and I mean that as a very heartfelt, not just as a throwaway. You have 10 of them, you won't miss one. Yeah, that's true. I chose you over FTFE. He's for now all the time. Yeah. Well, Steve, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And to be honest, there's people here in the chat that show up in my chat who have channels. And if you like what they do and you want to support them, just even subscribe. Having a sub goes a long way. It helps people reach numbers. And to be honest, when you're starting out and you have a smaller channel, especially like mine, and I see the numbers go up by 1, I celebrate it. When it goes up and got over 500, I didn't know what to do with myself except quickly pivot a stream that was supposed to be with Jaren and TikTok into a 500 sub stream. So it was completely different than what it was supposed to be, but it still happened. So I was appreciative of that. But no, every one of you that comes in here and watches the videos and supports me with watching the videos, if nothing more, is your family. You're part of my digital family, and I appreciate the fact that you guys are here and want to see more content. What I have coming up is I actually have 5 scripts, and I've been kind of waiting to try to get this done. I wanted to get this done before I started recording, but I might just not do that and just start recording the shit like tonight. We're talking about artillery and Coriolis. We're talking about Sea Sparrow and line of sight again, and we're going to talk about live streaming from the moon and what that would require. And because there seems to be a misunderstanding about how communications work, and that happens to be my lane, I'm going to try to break it down. We're going to talk about the Nixon phone call as well as what it would take in this day and age, even though it's 50 years after we've been there, what it would take to do a live stream from the moon. And also, how fucking boring would that be? But I digress. Deplorable, yes. Deplorable is, for those who don't know, you can do a right click on his channel, and he's doing a lot. He's doing a lot of the heavy working. In fact, I'm going to make an ask. There are certain channels that if you go to my channel specifically, and under my channel, you'll see, I need to edit this actually. You will see that there is a specific, hold on, I'm trying to find it. Sorry, hold on. Give me a second here. Customization. Here we go. There is a couple of channels that I highlight in my home tab. And those are basically featured channels. So these are DP Debunks. These are Mike. These are the two guys who helped me to get my channel off the ground and push me to do things. It's also followed by Real Harnold, CMS, and Steve's Creepy Van, people I actually work with and collaborate with. And I need to add to this. Yeah. YouTube Studio is a pain in the ass, and I try to do this offline. So let me try to do this offline. But I also have Doodle Sound Labs on there, CMS, Conspiracy Music Studios, and Real Harnold Studios, to who I collaborate with on music. But I will be adding another one to that, and that's going to be Deplorable Ilk, because he's doing a lot of the heavy lifting that we're doing for our top left for Roger. Remember, if nothing else from the stream, I want you to remember one thing: Team Lead Paint. That's all I want you to remember. Team Lead Paint for the win. Because we cannot keep up with all the derp that happens. There is so much that it's hard to actually track. So let me switch this over real quick. Let me show you guys something. And I just realized that I need to fix some of my things. So here's the channels that we have down there. I'm going to be adding Deplorable to that one as well. But if you see somebody talking about content in their in the chat, and they have a channel, post a link, check it out. If you do appreciate what they do, you want to support them, please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just a click, and you're over and done with. And I rate that. Did you send me Roger's Sea Sparrow clip? No, I don't think so. Who was 13? Yeah, Aldebaran. The Nixon phone call, aka the way communications worked back then. Here, I say this in the video, and I just want to kind of say it out loud just so you guys understand this. I know most people here are not going to be moon landing deniers. But in the event you think it might be weird that Nixon was able to make a phone call to the moon, just understand, it's not like he fucking called AT&T and there was long distance, charges for this call. He called Houston. Houston then routed it over the, well, it wasn't called the DSN at the time, but the DSN, and was able to have a communication with him through satellite. It's the same actual process that radio DJs have been doing since the 1950s to put callers on the air on an AM radio. Hey, caller, you're on the air. You remember that saying? Guess what? Same process. And it's been done for 10, 15 years before NASA did it. It's not new. Yes, Aldebaran, absolutely. So you guys are putting up the links. Perfect. Adam Deach is a PhD candidate who also does some debunking. And he finally separated his cat videos, but he's a PhD candidate studying, I believe, something with atmospherics. Very smart guy. Does not live far from me, which is kind of cool. I think we have to get together and do something together. I think it'd be fun. Also, Star Stuff. She is very good, and she is, well, hey, Aldebaran, let's not call her a small channel because she's past me in subs. So, Star Stuff, I believe her first name is Caitlin. Correct me if I'm wrong. She is absolutely amazing, and she's a different tone. I'm more satirical, controlled rage over stupidity. I drink on stream for a reason, because that's my coping mechanism. Star Stuff is very mellow, very factual and very direct, and she has good stuff. I highly recommend that if you are subbed here and not subbed there, which I highly believe, but in the event you're not, you need to go sub over there. Same thing with like Steve's Creepy Van, CMS, Harnold, and Doodle Sound Labs. There are those last three, Conspiracy Music Studios, Harnold, and Doodle, are our musical geniuses who put together those videos that we all love and appreciate beyond belief. She's better looking too. Yeah, fuck you. See, look, she's got 671. I have, what was my last number? 517. She's got a shit ton more than me, so she needs to be promoting me now. I will say this. I absolutely love Star Stuff. She actually, my daughter loves her and everything else. It's a great channel. Again, very different tone than mine. I drop a lot more 4-letter words, and I tend to attack certain things that are in my lanes. She has a different lane entirely, and I appreciate her for that. And I love her channel for that, because we need more voices, especially female ones with a different tone than people like myself, Drunk Debunk Show, Matt from Whatcast, and, you know, DP Debunks, and the regular dirt bengers that are a little more point and laugh. Oh, Discord. Hold on. Let me check that real quick. Let's see what this has got to be fucking worthwhile, I'm sure. All right, let's listen to this.
Think about this, though, D-Man. You ever seen a Sea Sparrow? That's a 30-mile laser-guided projectile.
All right, I need to turn it up. Hold on. It's a little quiet. Hopefully you guys heard it, but let me hear it again.
Think about this, though, D-Man. You ever seen a Sea Sparrow? That's a 30-mile laser-guided projectile.
Okay. Yeah. That's the stupid shit that I get crazy. Here's the thing, like, my military background allows me to address military stuff. So when people who aren't in the military try to address military stuff, I get offended, because it's like, unless you fucking signed up, why the hell are you here? And if you go against all the training you got in the military to say something stupid like the earth is flat, you deserve all the ridicule that I'm going to throw at you. Big Fish, I totally agree. Cool Beans is worthwhile. But Steve6464 also has a channel. Deplorable Ilk has a channel. If you have a channel, you can just post at this point. I mean, I can't see everybody who's here. Max has a channel, but it sucks. Don't sub to Max. Max, it's just crap. Don't worry about that. Max knows I'm kidding because I love him. Actually, Max is kicking off. Let's go over to Max. Now let's see. How the fuck do I raid? Let me see how I can do this real quick. In the meantime, if we can't do it this way, then you guys are going to have to go over there yourself. But here's what we're gonna do. Fuck, I don't know what I'm doing. Where's my live? Let's see. This. Well, you know what? Fuck it. I'll stream. You know what? Fuck it. We're going to do it the easy way. We're going to go to Yerba Mate Talks. I need somebody to walk me through how to do this stupid shit.
Need some time to heal. He's freaking... I swear, I can't even post a picture of my legs on YouTube.
All right. Outside of this, let me just sit there and say, guys, I appreciate every one of you being here and being part of my digital family, supporting this, myself and the channel. And as we always say, continue to be uncensored, continue to be unapologetic, continue to be unfornicated. This was our live stream, and I hope you guys all learned something. Oh, actually, let me rephrase that. If you learned something from this, it was purely accidental. That's all I got to say. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you guys have a great week. Be on the lookout for the new videos. Until then, as the saying goes, stay unfornicated, and I appreciate you guys more than I could say.